Hey, yo, internets, man, this is Combat Jack, and I really fucks with the About Nothing podcast, as you should do. Every week on Monday is a new episode. Tune in, get the fuck out of here.
Who the toast of New York? We don't just walk the walk, listen, we talk about nothing, but it be about something, stop fronting. It starts as soon as I push the button.
Welcome, it's the About Nothing podcast. Come on, we gotta clap it up. Today is a very, very special day.
Extraordinary.
Today's our anniversary.
1 year.
1 year
Happy
anniversary.
1 year birthday.
1 year anniversary, and we got an extra special guest. We'll get it
With
to him in a
sprinkles
minute.
on top.
Yeah, but I don't know if he likes sprinkles. That's a pause. But.
Yeah, that's a pause. That's a
Oh, you guys are gonna say pause. Whatever.
Absolutely.
1 effing year.
It's been a whole year.
Did you think he was gonna make it?
Of course.
Right,
I got faith in my team.
Right
of course.
That's
I see 5 years ahead.
I see 10.
Nah.
I see 5, baby. I know what's gonna go on. Of course.
Yeah, we ain't
I
going
didn't
nowhere.
think I would be part of it.
Who you?
What?
No, I'm serious. I didn't think I would still be oh,
Wait, you thought we was gonna kick you off the island?
No, not that.
You
I
on the
just
logo,
thought,
B?
Shut up.
All right,
I
go
thought
ahead.
that it was just gonna be I don't know if I'm feeling this anymore. I was gonna feel some kind of pressure to just speak up and just say certain things, but I'm just glad I'm here with you guys.
1 year anniversary.
Yes.
I feel great right now.
I feel
I
amazing.
had a baby within that year, another one. Dropped my 4th, 5th? How many kids I got?
6 that you know about.
8.
You see, don't say that. Babe, he was joking about that. He was joking.
We don't know. That was a joke.
Nah, but really, we made a year. We had special guests on the show. What's your favorite episode?
I love the one that Irma was on.
Yeah.
What is it?
Venus versus Mars?
Part
Venus
1.
versus Mars.
Part 1.
Uh-huh.
That's when
Yeah.
the world first saw Irma, right?
Yeah, it was just good to get that kind of perspective and have a female that sounds like me.
Yeah.
In a sense, and it was just dope. That one and Shapes, of course, because
Yeah,
I was
of
on
course.
that. But just the issues we were talking about, that was really dope to just express everything that I went through to that, and then have females sort of be like, oh my God, that's amazing, you're so brave, that's awesome that you went through that, you made me feel better about myself. To this day, I get a lot of support on that episode. And the third one would have to be when C's was on.
Little C's.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the
Biggie
jewels
story.
he dropped.
You're a Biggie fan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just
You love Biggie.
winning. Yes.
What was yours, Cake?
Mine, I would have to say, was the side piece episode. Even though
that
y'all
was
niggas bashed me, I got a lot of bad reviews on that episode.
Yeah, because you don't wear condoms, you said.
I got good health insurance.
All right.
Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, a lot of people was judging me because y'all know the situation that I
You
was going
believe in
through.
God, you don't need condoms. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
The
I
Bible
go to
says.
church. I don't wear condoms. Anyway, yeah. Now that episode was the most fun I had on any episode. That was my favorite. I got to learn a lot about a few of y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot one of them.
People learned a lot about me. I got a lot of help because of the situation I told you with Shorty and her boyfriend. But yeah, I grew.
Wait.
Wait,
I
the
forgot
girl
one.
you were smashing while she had a boyfriend? Oh, that's
Yeah.
the one you got in trouble
Yeah,
for?
that one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't get in trouble, but
You
people
want,
was
me,
just like,
you want me to pull up the audio? Or?
No, that's good. That's
No,
good.
I'm just
That's
asking,
good because
you know?
I mean, a lot of people was like, "Oh, Cake ain't shit," and I'm like, I was younger. I was learning.
My nigga, this was last year.
No, it was not last. I was with Kelsey last year.
No, I'm talking about the show.
Okay, I'm about to say you trying to get me clapped. All right, yeah.
You know what's my favorite episode?
What's your favorite episode?
Today.
Yeah.
Before we started this podcast, what was my little spewel to you? We had a talk.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to start a podcast, bro. I've been following this one cat for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This is the red carpet right here. I've been following this cat for a while. I'm like, yo, I think he's dope. I listen to this show. It's become like almost an addiction. Whenever I fly out, I throw on the podcast. I listen to the 4-hour episodes one time. I think they had Guru as a guest.
Yep.
I'm on a flight, and I'm just like, oh, shit. And I'm mad that the flight didn't take longer so I could listen to more. That's how much I love the podcast.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting back, I'm listening to more episodes because he takes us back to the 70s, 80s, and these early hip hop stories and doing law for Rockefeller and writing contract, like shit like that was interesting to me. I'm a product of that, music business.
Right.
So when I'm hearing somebody who was talking about stuff I was into, but giving me that perspective from the other side, it was dope.
Right.
I listened to when they were internet radio show. I think PNC. They was at PNC. I was like, yo, this is dope. Then they made the transition over to a podcast. I watched. I think in the early stages it was Just Blaze, A King. I think Mo was there. Dallas Penn.
Yeah.
And everybody. So of course I know y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mr. Combat Jack.
Internets.
Gotta applaud that man right there.
That is here.
Yo, congratulations
You know what I mean?
on the first anniversary, yo. That's major.
Thank you.
Yes.
man.
Thank you
That's
so
so
much, sir.
special.
Thank
We
you.
made it.
No,
And
that's
you're
so
here with
special,
us.
though.
King is
Lo.
in the house. What's up, King?
For our anniversary
What
up,
episode,
King?
we got the podcast God
Nah,
though.
we had to
That's
have
like,
the Podfather in here.
That's
so
a big deal to us, man. Like, I don't even know what to say.
And like I was going back to early conversations with my man Cake when we first started. First episode, first ever. I said, yo, before we ever touched that microphone, I said, bro, Combat just put the battery in my back, kid.
Nah, I appreciate that,
Thank
man.
you.
I definitely appreciate
Thank
that, man.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Man, this is so special. King, remember our first anniversary? Like our first anniversary episode, man, we was so amped. We were like so happy, like a little baby.
right?
Like that's why I'm feeling so joyful right now, because
Yeah.
y'all are glowing. Y'all got that 1 year glow, yo.
Appreciate
Man,
that, man.
it feels great, man. But thank you. No, seriously, thank you.
No,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, this man, like, before we even really start, he said, yo, one day I'm gonna get Combat on the show. He used to always say to me, he's like, I'm gonna get
Yes.
Combat on the show. So
But that ain't hard. I'm in Brooklyn. Come
I
on,
mean,
man.
no,
You know
no,
what I'm saying?
no.
Like,
I understand that, but it's like I know you know, but I still feel I have to work. We had to work.
Right,
we
of
had to put in
course.
some
Yeah,
work. We
for
just
sure.
can't jump out. Yo, Combat, I want you in the show. I could be
Facts.
Chucky from anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, you
Like,
know
I
what
got a
mean? Like,
podcast.
who the hell? Everybody got a freaking podcast. We have to
Everybody
put
got
that
a
work in
Now,
first.
yes.
You know what I mean?
podcast
So
is the new rap right now.
it is, man.
It's the
For
new
real.
rap, yo.
Podcast of the new Jordans.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
That's true,
what I
too.
call
That's a
them.
fact.
But all podcasts ain't Jordans.
Facts, you right.
That's a fact.
Nah,
Got
you're
Brian
right.
All
Lewis.
podcasts, you got somebody.
Yeah.
One of those.
There's some bootlegs
Some
out there. man.
basuras out there.
Be like,
There's some
yo.
bootlegs, but I want to go way back to the beginning. I
Oh,
want to start.
shit, like in my
I want to
mom's
start
belly.
in Crown Heights,
Crown Heights,
Lincoln
okay.
Place.
Okay.
Early beginnings.
Okay.
How was early Combat? How was early Reggie, growing up in a Haitian household?
Shout out to
So, Sagat
We got another Haitian in the house.
Oh, man, we around.
Yeah. Yo,
Well, how
man,
was it coming
you
up
know,
during that
it was,
time?
It was just, I just remember being really innocent. Just like really innocent, like thinking life was always gonna be so sweet. You know what I mean? And it was we were on Lincoln Place between Albany and Troy. And so it was kind of in the 70s. It was just kids on the block. It was just mad kids on the block. Mad, working class families, middle working class families. There was private houses, and then there was apartment buildings. We were fortunate enough, me and my mom bought as a single parent, bought her own, building. So it was like, I kind of had this kind of like little privilege in my head, thinking
sort
shit
of like
is,
little
because shit
bubble
was
going on.
playing football in Skelly, and then in high school, starting to get crushes on girls, you know what I mean? And then, but then, so it was sweet, you know what I'm saying? Block parties, and then we had this one family on the block where the guy that owned the house was a cop, a highly ranked cop. All black, everybody on the block was black.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a highly ranked police officer, and his brother was a pimp, like a pimp doing his thing. So like when they would have the block parties, like the police officer and the pimp, their brothers would, buy into the.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So like all throughout the day, it was music. It was hot and music. Growing up, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, a lot of cats really don't understand the magic, how beautiful music was before hip hop.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Stevie Wonders, the James Browns, the Earth, Wind and Fires, the Rick James. Like you had, like the Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up
On that.
on the Jackson 5.
Oh, man.
You understand what I'm saying? Like I grew
Yeah.
up on the Jackson 5. So, like looking at TV, like everybody on my block was black. And then you had, like, it was the 70s. So I think the 70s was post-civil rights. So they were definitely very first time seeing uplifting black role models on TV.
Right.
So I thought the world
Was like that.
was black, except for these little windows that we saw of white people on TV. You know what I mean? So it was cool, man. But then, you know, high school, you know, you're going through it. You know, you're going through your hormones. You're going through changes, trying to figure out what your life is about. And then, like, right when I hit that age, like that 15, that 16-year-old age, crack just started
Crack
coming
hit.
in.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Crack
Yeah,
just
I was
started
just about to
coming
say,
in.
isn't that when?
So,
That hit.
you know, like my niggas that we grew up with, you know what I'm saying? And I was always like the nerdiest of the kids because I was like first generation American. I didn't, you know, I was soaking in all that Americana, like, you know, pop and shit and comic books and all of that. So, like, I wasn't going to change. Like I said, it was a sense of purity and innocence. But then when one of my dudes started changing, his energy started changing. You know what I'm saying? And then one time, like, I was like, yo, what's up? I got this X-Men comic. And he was like, yo, man, nigga, you want for dead? Like, he just went there. Like, just went there.
I could imagine what that was like.
So niggas is, all of a sudden now your niggas is carrying. You don't know who's your niggas. And you don't even know why. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
You don't know why. And then, you know, I remember this shit vividly. One of my closest friends lived four houses down the block, Wayne Spenny, like 2 years older than me. The nigga got shot. He got shot in the head. He lived, but he got shot in the head. And I was like, we getting shot now? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I
oh, like
X-Men and now
I would
it's
have been so scared.
and that's what it is because as a young black man, that fear is real. That fear is that fear is paralyzing. But you're forced to man up. You understand what I'm saying? So there's incidents when I was like, oh shit, let me get the switchblade. Just, you know, just whatever. I can never imagine myself using it.
Yeah, but just that
But
protection.
just because everybody else around me had
I
it.
feel you.
Then I was like
survival. Almost.
I had a couple of incidents, and I was like niggas that I grew up with, testing me. So I was like, yo, do I get heat? You know what I'm saying? Like, these questions that you don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just your reality.
Yeah.
But being the nerd that I was, man, like, and I gotta say this, like, my mom's. You said early, right? So.
Yeah.
My mom's, like, God bless her, man. Like, you know, for somebody who she came here from Haiti, raised me on her own. Like, she made sure I had culture. Like, she made sure I had culture. So, like, as a shorty, she would take me to Broadway shows.
Oh, that's
So, like, I still vividly remember,
That's so
like,
awesome.
like The Wiz with Stephanie Mills, the first run.
Wow.
That shit it blew my mind. Or Annie, like, going to see Annie.
Oh, wow.
The first run of Annie. And just like, yo, like, so the mind is like this, some other shit beyond.
Yeah.
Because
The
niggas
block.
don't leave.
They don't leave that
Yeah.
fishbowl.
They don't leave
Brooklyn.
for real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't leave the block.
And so, this junior high school I went to, because I guess I was a smart nigga. So this junior high school I went to, Robert F. Kennedy, they closed down, but it was a great program.
Yeah.
They took the most promising kids from Catholic schools, because I came up in Catholic schools. So they took the most promising kids, and it was a 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, just one class. And it was real intensive. And the year that I got in was traditionally all boys. So the year I got in, you know, it became co-ed.
Co-ed. Ooh.
So that you know, I was like, I came in. But you know what though? We like, all of us coming in was fucked, because you got to understand, middle school, everybody want to fall in love or whatever, but you got the 7th grade cast and the 8th grade cast. It's like, yo, we remember when there was no chicks here, so we are going to get all the chicks.
Right,
We're gonna get everything.
We paid our dues.
Like, y'all niggas gotta fall back. Wait till 7th or 8th grade before y'all ball.
We got seniority now.
But I'll say this. So, you know, here the block is changing, but I'm in this this weird like small school, and one of the things that attracted me to the school is like every year, like they didn't take you on no like field trips and shit. They wasn't about that bullshit. Like every year, once a year, they would send you to like someplace in the U.S. that was like historical. So we went to Boston and Washington D.C. and Philly. So like every year, but then the end of the year, you went to Europe.
Oh, that's
you understand what I'm saying? You went to
I wish they still
you went to Europe. So and we was all like black and Latino kids. There was maybe 1, 2, 3 white kids in the school, but 9 out of 10 they would send us with the teachers, but no parent supervision.
That's lit.
Right? So I remember like Star Wars had come out, and I'm in the plane, like, you know what I'm saying, like in the plane headed to.
He was a real nerd.
For real.
Star Wars.
No, I'm saying because I'm just remembering because the first year I went, it was Star Wars, and then the following year it was Saturday Night Fever. So I'm talking about the music and the shit that we're carrying from the U.S. So the first year is Italy, and the second year is Spain, and. I like even now, I hit my face.
Wait, and your mother had no problem sending you,
like she came to Spain, but she didn't come to Italy.
Oh wow, that's dope.
But I just remember all us little nerdy kids. Like one night, we was in a hotel room in Italy, just like, wow, this shit is crazy. And somebody pulled out the weed, the joints, because we used to smoke the strawberry joints.
Right.
And I was like. I was too, like, you just start smoking, like 13, 14, that's 13, 14, right?
Yeah.
But I thought it was so fly, but what haunts me, and I hope this doesn't haunt me until my when I'm down on my deathbed, is I'm still curious, who the fuck of us smuggled the weed to Italy like that?
Back then it was easy. I think it was a little easier.
And we were kids.
TSA wasn't tripping.
And we were kids. We were little kids. You know what I'm
Put it in
saying?
the bucket hat real quick.
We were good kids with naughty
Intentions, right?
tendencies.
Yeah,
but we, you know what I'm saying? So,
So how you stayed away from all the the crime and everything everybody else is getting into in the neighborhood?
You know, man, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Because peer pressure is a mother.
Peer pressure was a mother, but at the same time, as an only child, I'm to this day, like
child.
King always says, I'm a weirdo, because when shit gets hectic, I'm good being by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Because you're the only child.
Like I had like fuck y'all niggas. Y'all niggas shoot. Wolverine. I got Wolverine. I got Daredevil. And then,
The best.
but then around the time, like, what made shit even more scary is that life is changing on the streets, but then the comics is changing. Like the comics is becoming more serious.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They're darker.
Going with the times.
And so my favorite comic, I mean, of course, X-Men was the greatest shit ever.
Right.
Y'all want me to talk about this nerd?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm into
we
that
trying
shit.
to find out about you.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
what we want listeners to hear.
So Frank Miller was this young artist from Michigan. I forget, Michigan or whatever, Midwest. And he gets hired at Marvel, and they're about to discontinue Daredevil. Daredevil was the worst fucking selling comic book on the Marvel line. So Frank Miller comes in, and he's living in Times Square in like 79, 80, 81, 82. So he's seeing, he's seeing the asshole of New York back then. Because everywhere in New York, and you might be tweaked, but I just remember everywhere in New York smelling bad, like smelling like piss, smelling like shit, smelling like it was the New York. The city was a grime bucket, but it was still our playground. Right. So Frank Miller comes to New York, and he's like, "Yo, I can't. If Daredevil is running around in this, and then you got Bernard Guest and vigilante street justice and all types of shit, like niggas getting clapped in the street." He was like, if Frank Miller was a real cat living in Hell's Kitchen, he'd have to be a vigilante. You know what I'm saying? Right. So just growing up, seeing how, and then I don't know if y'all watched the TV series.
Of course, I loved it.
And this is not a spoiler, but it's a fucking spoiler. The issue, I'm in high school now, and life and death is all, and I'm reading these comics to escape. But when Elektra dies,
didn't it happen in season 2?
Elektra?
Yeah. Didn't she pass?
I don't think she.
No,
passed.
she doesn't pass the
No.
season 2.
What happened
She
to
almost
that?
dies
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I hope
when they
keep
start
her
viewing her
alive.
as a queen.
Okay,
When the
okay.
assassin niggas, but yeah.
But when she died, I was like, what the fuck is going? Like, even in comics now, and in Phoenix, like the Phoenix
Yeah, the
saga
Phoenix.
and X Men, I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so it was real. But then, so comics was my driving shit, and then of course hip hop.
Right.
It's like hip hop was always like once that shit. First time I heard it's just like That's why I appreciate this show, To Get Down.
I
So
love it.
so
I'm on
much.
episode 3.
The
But
one
I
on
mean, you hear
Netflix.
cats
Yeah.
complaining
Yeah,
about it. You
discontent,
hear
Yeah.
like you asked to take you. That's what it was. Like that. I mean, there's all this exaggeration going on, but that if you could look at that in New York, if
Yeah.
you look at the Bronx, you can see
It
that
was
shit doesn't
filthy.
smell.
It
It's
was
filthy.
dirty.
It
It
was
was
filthy.
dirty.
And like some of the scenes, particularly in the first episode, they had kids that was dirty.
Yeah.
And I just remember
That.
people being dirty. Like you know what I'm saying? Niggas
Yeah.
was dirty
Yeah.
in New York. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
But all of a sudden, these little cassette tapes is floating around, and it's like it's from Harlem. It's my first tape, Flash, changed my life. Like the minute I heard Flash and Melly Mel and them niggas, I was like,
Wow.
and I said music was already great.
Right.
Wow.
Like music was great. We were coming from like I grew up from like soul music to like R&B to like disco and like but not the like you know what I'm saying like
poppin' shit.
amazing
Authentic. Right.
gospel soul stirring disco. So for it to morph into hip hop now, and it was like, okay, so the comic books is my shit. This, Mano always said this to me. Mano was like, a lot of us is from the hood, but not all of us is hood.
That's
So
a
I was
fact.
never a
Real
hood
shit.
nigga, but
That's a
I
fact.
just
True.
remember like I'm part of the hood. You know what I'm saying? Started a little job.
I grew up with guys like that.
Started a
Yeah.
little, started
Heavy
little,
into
little
comics.
started doing these little jobs just because, my mom still, being the only child, she was still getting my gear, right?
Yeah.
And I was getting no love, my nigga. I was getting no love, nigga. I was getting.
You wasn't getting the Pumas and the shell
No,
tops.
listen, listen,
You know
nigga.
what I'm
Listen,
saying?
no,
And she was-
Elise.
no, I
the
wasn't
Lee
getting none of
jeans,
those
man.
yet. None of those yet, right?
And she was Haitian, right?
Yeah, so she, I'm like, everything is brown.
What that mean, man?
Nah, that's a fact.
That's
That's a
a
fact.
fact,
You
though.
know what it is.
Fact, though.
Wait,
Fact,
wait,
though.
you
That's
meant
a
from,
fact.
from
Fact, though.
being the strict.
Nah.
Fact, though.
You gotta.
Nah,
Listen.
my Haitian friends wore jeans with shoes back in
Nah,
Jeans
my
with
used to
parents
go
kept me
that-
fly. I was
Loafers.
lucky. I was lucky.
You was one, but you
I was lucky. I was one of them lucky Haitians. Yeah,
Okay.
my parents kept me fly.
They were willing to be Americanized.
Yeah, that's
but
what
a
it
lot of
was.
them come over here and they stayed that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, for
Even
real.
with the
I-
kids.
the
And you gotta
jeans with
understand,
the
also,
hard
it was just
bottoms.
my mom, so
Yeah.
all she did was. So another thing was,
Gotta respect.
she was
it,
I was a
Yeah.
latchkey kid. So like at the age of 8, she was out,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and I had to discover the world for myself. So I'll never forget this. Hip hop is out. It's just brand new, and niggas is starting to change up their style. You know what I'm saying? So I get my first $100. I go to Delancey Street, and I cop me some blue and white Pumas and some green or white shell toes.
Uh-oh.
Wait, hold on.
But lie.
They were white with the blue Puma.
No, they was blue with
blue with the white.
classic, the
Swag.
classic ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got those, right? Then I just remember the outfit so crispy.
Yeah.
And then I remember getting me like this, was like a rust colored BBD nylon
Nylon.
wife beat the tank top. It was,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You had to, but it was nylon. You know what I'm
BBD,
saying?
that's
This
the-
was
y'all know about
polyester
that.
like a
Nah, I
motherfucker.
Nah,
do.
you old,
Yeah,
you old.
people
So
don't know
we
about
know.
that. They probably like, yo, what's he talking about?
You had to, this first time I'm getting gear, a pair of stiff, like fucking cardboard stiff Lee jeans.
Yeah,
You
they
know what I'm
were
saying?
mad
Yeah.
stiff. I
The
remember my
Lee,
dad.
them shits was like fucking made out of wood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your
Yes.
legs would be this
They
fucking.
were always crunchy.
with no starch.
Right.
Not needed. Not needed.
You ain't put no
No
Niagara on that
starch.
shit.
But then because they were so hard, the crease. Once you put the crease in them,
so
that
Yes.
shit was like
creases will cut you.
Yeah.
right? And then I got first time getting a Caesar, and then I got the green do rag to match. The,
Hold on, you wore the cape out?
What, nigga? What you talk? That's all we had back then. We didn't have no choice.
Why would they have
No, but back then too. You got to understand the end of the '70s.
Yeah.
Like beginning, it was still some flare shit. So you let that shit
Yeah.
float, my nigga.
Let it fly.
You had
That's
a
how you
fucking
flourish,
nigga.
That's how you flourish,
Hell
right?
yeah, let it blow
Yo,
away.
you let that shit float.
I get scared. I cross the street and I see the cape out. Anybody got a cape on?
That's 2016.
That's
bro.
what, yeah, niggas take off the do-rag right now. But 2016,
I get scared. I'm like, nah,
but like
crossing the street,
81,
bro.
like 81, yes.
That
So,
was shit.
so I remember, like my boys, the summer before, my boys was throwing a party on the block. And I went to the block, went to the party, you know, with some I don't know, some immigrant shit on.
Yo.
Damn.
And this chick
You had
was
socks on?
Yeah, I had socks on. I mean, nigga, but I had like long, you know, like
Good
the
question.
fucking tube socks,
Oh,
That
man.
immigrant shit.
red, white, and blue stripes.
I hate those.
Well, you bought those from Woolworth?
I mean,
Utica?
I don't know where, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, my mom's was fucking supplying my wardrobe, right? So I remember going to this party. I remember specifically, this changed my life. I remember going to this party that my boys was throwing, and these girls was at the door, cute girls. And when I came through, one of the chicks said to that, nah, he's not getting in. He's ugly.
Oh.
Yo.
Damn. How old were you exactly?
I might have been
Yo, son.
14, 15.
That shit sticks with you, bro.
fuck.
Nah, that shit stick with you.
No.
bro.
Listen
I
though.
hope, what's their
Listen,
name? You know their names?
I don't remember their names.
Oh, I'll
but
call
so,
them out
but
right
then,
now.
I'm about to look for
like,
the
no,
Twitter.
this, but this
look
was
to
fucked
see
me
what
up
they
though.
look like.
So, a couple of months later, when I buy that same immaculate
Fit.
wardrobe, I remember putting that shit on
Flourishments.
in the crib and then throwing the garbage out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I was just gonna wear that shit forever,
Yeah.
forever. But then when I was throwing the garbage out, these girls was walking by. And they're like, "Oh, he's cute,"
Yeah, bitch.
and I was like, "What? Like, yo, I'm cute now. All I had to do was
Take
change
my
the
clothes. Take
Change
the
the two
Haitian clothes off.
Damn.
take the Haitian clothes off. You know what I mean? So,
$3.95.
so I say all that to say, man, like, as shit was changing, as I was coming into my own.
Yeah.
You know, I was an A student, man. Like I was a super A student, and I was crazy with the
Graffiti?
no, not the
Or
illustration. Like I was,
Oh, yeah?
I was destined to be a fine artist. Like I was destined. Like
Because of the
that's
comics.
Ill. I was gonna
comics,
say
and that's
comics
all,
is
but
ill.
then I would like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like my mom used to take me to museums, so like
Dope.
already, like I was like, this nigga, Dali, Salvador Dali is a
Dali.
real
Yeah.
bugged out nigga. I
Yeah.
fuck with that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So I always had this weird kind of just that artsy type shit.
That's dope.
And then I got into Cornell University fine arts program. So now I told you, I'm thinking the whole world is black.
Wait, did you wanting to be a lawyer? Did that come from your mother, or
No,
you really?
let me tell you the story.
Okay.
Like I was
Yeah, got it, yeah.
heavy art nigga, like
Yeah.
clothes, and I was mad because I was a ghetto nigga.
Yeah.
And you see artists like they should be all painted on and shit. And I was like, nah, like so that already was like some kind of conflict because I was like, nah, I'm not one of these white boys with
Yeah,
all
like,
this
I'm not
paint on
doing
their
that.
shit. You know, I'm not doing that. These my fucking leaves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My stiff ass leaves.
So when I got to Cornell, the fine art. The minute I got there, the fine arts program, I knew it sucked. And the reason why I knew it sucked is because, yo, am I talking too much, man?
Nah, man, come
Go.
on.
Go.
You
We're
flowing,
listening
you
to you.
flowing. Go ahead.
So-
I
man.
like
By the way, I
stories
haven't
like
heard-
this.
I haven't heard this story.
You haven't heard that.
No, that's
story.
ill. So-
I'm listening
See,
to
this is
it.
the
That's
first
what
time
up.
for King. We want to hear this.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
We getting the
So,
other
all right,
side
so-
of
so
combat
AMP
right now.
exclusive.
All right, so
You
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
this is
There you
internet. This
Go
is so fucking exclusive. So, so when I left my junior high school, I went to Xavier, St. Francis Xavier on West 16th Street, yeah, and it was a Jesuit, preppy, Catholic, all boys school. So coming out of junior high school, I had a choice, like what high school did I want to go to, and I had an open lane for that, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to Xavier because, like I said, I was very into my education, and I knew like the school was like real hardcore, and it was like, you know what, I'll fuck around, go to one of these schools, and I'm a fall in love type nigga. Like I like to fall in love. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I go to one of these other schools and I fall in love every other day, and my school would be my schoolwork would be fucked up.
Right. I
Yeah.
feel you.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was that focused.
Right.
So, but the crazy shit is the school was tight. The school was real white, and like when I would see white boys, I would feel sorry for these niggas. Like I'd see them and I'd be like, "Dang, y'all niggas is corny." Like y'all, the way y'all and I'm just saying a disclaimer. I'm not saying no racist shit. I'm telling you from the perspective of my young eyes. I was like, y'all niggas dress corny. Y'all niggas listen to weird music. Y'all niggas at the time, you know, it was damn near post 70s, the 80s. We had a smoking room. And nothing but white boys would be in there smoking. I was like, y'all niggas is smoking. Like, y'all savages. Like, I really felt sorry for white people because they didn't have the swag that black people got. So when I got to Cornell, like, they didn't even know about rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was real early. The niggas was still on Disco Sucks. They didn't even know rap was germinating under. You know what I'm saying? These niggas was 4 years back hating black. So I was like, nigga, we up under. Don't you see we getting bread from up under you? You know what I'm saying?
For real.
So,
we got this.
So when I got to Cornell, that shit was a game changer because I was like, why is that corny white boy in a Porsche in the illest houses?
Ooh, and then you got.
You know, why on
that.
spring break these motherfuckers go to Madagascar and Cancun, and I'm going back to Crown Heights. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, wait, these motherfuckers run the planet?
Wait, can I pause you right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you went back to Crown Heights during your spring breaks, the neighborhood changed. You got the drug dealers out there. So the guys you grew up with, were they that dude? And when they saw you come back, because I knew, like, I got the stories from my uncle, because I grew up on Lincoln as well. Lincoln and Rochester.
Yes,
and
yes,
my uncles
my
used,
nigga, yes.
the drug dealers always hung out with the college students. And he used to tell me, you know, like, yo, when I was doing my thing, I wanted to go up to the colleges. And he used to always tell them, like, yo, don't be me. Did you have that guy in your
Okay, so that was
that?
early. That was because it was still early while shit was bubbling. So niggas wasn't that guy yet.
Yeah.
Niggas was still shooters and grimy. You know what I'm saying? So I would come home and I would see my niggas like just on the hugging the block, like just all my niggas. Like I'm like, damn, y'all hugging the block. You know what I mean? But I got to go back though. So one of my teachers that inspired me in high school was Marilyn Minter. And Marilyn Minter was like the Cyndi Lauper, like red hair, like she's just all weird, and me not really, but just me not knowing her, this weird white girl, but how she really opened up my passion for art. She's like, you're dope, do whatever you want. When I got to accepted to Cornell, she's like, the Cornell program sucks, but if you could push through it, you'll be good. So I just remember my first semester sitting in this class, in all of these classes, and I would watch like the other black kids studying architecture, studying economics, agriculture, pre-law, physics, and I just remember seeing them being challenged, seeing their minds being forced and stretched, and niggas is throwing up and sick, and you know what I'm saying, staying up all night, and I just got paint on me, and just I'm like, I'm good, and that didn't feel good. I was like, this is too easy. Like my instinct was like, this is like, nah, you're not going back home with some nominal skills. So as I'm going through this, I remember hanging out with my cousin Fritz, who was at Cornell with me. His eldest brother was a lawyer. I remember one time he left his paycheck on he was like a Park Avenue, like top firm lawyer. So I remember seeing his paycheck one day. I was like, I'm going to law school. I never, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know the concept of what niggas' incomes was and this and that. But when I seen that check, I was like, I'm going to fucking law school. That was it. So that's what inspired me to go to law school. So first semester I did the art thing, and then the second semester I tried to transfer into into pre-law school of industrial labor relations. Nigga, that shit kicked my ass. That shit kicked my ass to the point where I thought I was going to get kicked out of school.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Because I'm coming in now, not 101, but, 102. So I'm already a semester behind. Statistics is on some other level. Cornell ain't no fucking hoe. You know what I'm saying? And I'm jumping from painting all day to, like, bad study habits. So, but I fought that shit like a nigga. I fought that.
You was determined.
I was like, I'm a student. So I think you had to have, like I did, and then I pledged that semester, which was stupid. I pledged Sigma. So I fucked up my first semester. And so to transfer from fine arts to pre-law, there's this interim school called Division of Unclassified Students, which is a horrible name.
I was gonna say that sounds so bad and negative.
Division of Unclassified Students. So I was in that school trying to transfer, and their thing is like, yo, if you didn't take all the tests to get into these schools, so if you get under 2.5, you're on probation. So I think I got like a 2.0 that first semester, and they were like, you got one more semester, and then you're out. You're out. If you don't get over 2.5, you're out. So that second semester, I was busting my ass, but the shit was still hard.
Yeah.
I remember I had like Econ 103, and I didn't understand anything of that bitch. I didn't understand and the class was at 8:30
in the morning.
Damn.
Oh, the worst.
That shit feel bad, right?
So
that shit hurt my
Word,
heart.
like,
listen, nigga. I was fucking up so bad that I was in class at 8:30 every fucking morning, front row. Front row, like nigga. I don't,
Yeah.
If I don't pass this class, I'm out. I'm back in Crown Heights. Every fucking morning, 8:30, straight up, not knowing anything. Teacher didn't even call on me because he knew I was an idiot in that class, right? End of the semester, and I'm like getting to this end of the semester. I'm sitting in this class. It's me and him. He's like, you know you got an F. Like you got an F. But nigga, your grind was so crazy, I'm gonna give you a D. I'm gonna pass you. You got a D, but nigga, you really. So anyway, like, I'm just telling you how the grind that I was going through. So it was Christmas break. I got a 2.3. Damn. And I needed a 2.5. And I'm sitting home, and these niggas sent me a letter saying you were kicked out of Cornell.
Oh damn.
You just out. You back in Crown Heights, nigga. I'm hearing gunshots going off now. Outside, right?
You almost had one in your hand, huh?
So I call the school.
Damn, King.
I call the ladies that ran like the administration of school industrial relationships, because I was mad cool with the entire school, the college that I was trying to transfer in. And I was like trying to figure out how am I going to tell my moms, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, how did your mom deal with it?
No, listen. So I called these niggas and I was like, yo, I just want to say I appreciate, like, I got the letter from Division of Unclassified Students, and they said that they're kicking me out of Cornell University. I was like, man, fuck them. Like, you're in. We fuck with you. Fuck them. You're in.
Nice.
And it was the first time I really dodged a bullet. Then that's when I started believing in magic, my nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? If your grind is hard enough, no matter how dire that shit,
get there.
Man, and then so now coming back home, I'm not hanging out in Brooklyn no more. I'm hanging out in the East, in the village. I'm hanging out in clubs. Like, I'm hanging out like niggas. I'm cultured now. Like I'm saying, I seen the other side of the world. We don't have no time for grind balls. Just mad because I'm getting an education. Nah, fuck y'all niggas. I'm out here. Like I'm with like different smelling women. Yeah, different hair texture.
How was the cocaine?
Well, we didn't get to that yet.
Was there a lot of moisture? Was there a lot of moisture though?
He said he was in the village.
No. But I'm still learning. Like, what I'm saying, still, like the village was mad kids. What was beautiful about the village, it was like the city kids, but then it was mad kids from like the Bronx, Harlem, Brooklyn, niggas that came from the same fucking block you came from. But them niggas wanted to be extra fly.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They had that extra.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of swag. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we just started having our own clique. So Cornell, and then going to Georgetown. I'm at Georgetown Law right now, and that's when I'm heavy into the house scene. That's when like
DC was big for that, right?
Nah, DC
time.
sucked at I hated hated, like, cause you gotta understand, the summer before I went to law school, now niggas in the Paradise Garage, y'all gotta understand the doors open at midnight and close at noon.
Damn.
Shit. Yo, that's crazy. We think
and niggas would leave at 10. Cause we couldn't make it to 12. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? And I'm getting into like all types of, like, I'm coming into like women into my life. You know what I'm saying? I got more like freedom, and my swag at the time was, I thought I had my swag. I thought I had that little artsy, smart boy hood swag. You know what I mean? And then mescaline. Mescaline. That was the drug. Mescaline is like Molly now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mescaline was like what ecstasy was, like the Paradise Garage, one of the best clubs of all time. Yeah, I can't even explain to you how dope it was because it was deep classic. Gotta have house music. All
Malik,
it was
you gotta Google that.
It was that classic, like house music that ran at the same time. So if you got too tired of hip hop, because hip hop was still all that hip hop shit back then wasn't fly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of it wasn't. Like you had for every fucking Eric B and Rakim, you had 100,000
Whack niggas.
whack
Yeah.
niggas or niggas trying to sound like LL. I'm hard because I'm hard, and I'm hard. Like you know. So the house music was a little more sophisticated, and so I'm in law school right now, and this is tying to your story. I'm a club kid now. I'm a fucking club kid. I'm out.
Man.
I'm on mescaline 24/7. I don't even come home. Like we would leave the club, go to that McDonald's on West 4th Street, raid that shit, getting somebody's hoopty, go to Jones Beach. The next day, be back out. Like that's why I go
the
so
McDonald's
hard right
by the
now,
cage?
kid.
Yeah, niggas was
Yeah,
partying.
right there, like
That
we
shit's
was
still there
real.
too.
West 4th to Jones
West
Beach.
4th,
That's
West
fucking
4th Street.
true.
2 hour ride.
West 4th Street.
That's what I'm saying. That's
To-
the
to-
truth.
yeah, no, but you know, and coming
Even
down,
care.
but still, I mean, you young, nigga.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
care.
That's
You
a fact.
young, and
out
I'm
here.
in college.
Yeah.
I'm in law school.
You
Like
feeling
niggas
yourself
is life
too?
right. No, actually, I'm gonna tell you that. No, I wasn't in law school yet. So now I'm flowing. Like this is my. I'm like this is my city. And now that we in the clubs, and we didn't have like the kids at Cornell was really straight. Like we was really just nerds. Even the coolest of us was nerds. But Syracuse was 45 minutes down, away. And Syracuse, you had the crazy, they always had the illest ball team.
Yeah.
And they had the chicks, and they was, they was just flyer. You know what I'm saying? They was fly. So we would drive to Syracuse. So I remember one summer being in Crown Heights, and this kid from Syracuse who was the man in Syracuse, we was coming out this same train station. I was like, nigga, you from Crown Heights? He's like, well, you from Crown Heights? So we was like, okay. So now I was hanging out with that nigga. That nigga was the flyest nigga because that nigga was in the middle of the flyest like Cosby shit as like Hillman University shit at Syracuse with them New Jack City niggas, like the street, like he
Yeah.
was
That's
that,
ill.
like you know what I'm saying,
in
like
between.
so my man, he's getting all of this, like excellent like Syracuse living. He was always with the fly chicks, but his aunt, like his father was a police captain, so he was real middle class. Brownstone, I'm talking about brownstone. We have a limestone, they had a brownstone, but his aunt on St. John's was the fucking bando, my nigga. It was the fucking
Wow. The trap house.
niggas was cooking in there. You understand what I'm
wow.
saying?
Damn.
So
He said bando. Wow, comeback.
so niggas, so we was
real? I'm like,
it's for you
wait.
kids. It's for you kids. It's for you kids. So my summers, I would come home, so I'd be high off that mescaline, and I'd be in there with him and his aunt, and they'd have chicks over, and then now I'm meeting niggas that's dressed clean, like niggas with the real Gucci links and the fucking Benz is outside, and them niggas is like, now we like your style. We like, no, we like your style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So now we all in in the Paradise Garage, and I was never that, but them niggas
Yeah.
gave dap. Them niggas recognized me.
Yeah.
And it was all them niggas that you hear about, like Demencio, God bless the dead. You know what I'm saying? Lou Hobbs, like cats that was
Hood legends.
hood
Yeah.
legends at that time. But I'm not even knowing they're hood legends. I'm just like, oh, that's Ron. That's
Yeah, like
Yep.
cool.
because I'm so removed from the shit. Even though I'm in there now.
Good Bolivia.
And it's free right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what I want to hear. Yeah.
So
That's what I'm
it's that
talking about.
mescaline on Fridays at the Paradise Garage. On any given night, it's that cocaine.
Oh.
And then I'm smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? It's,
The good
The
coke.
best
but
of
but
the
I'm
highs.
just knowing, being the smart kid I am. This is just my summer holiday. Like,
Right,
'cause
right,
it-
right,
'cause
right.
Yeah.
Come September, niggas back at it.
Yeah, that shit is
Yeah.
done. That
Yeah,
party over.
we not doing cocaine at
Oh,
Cornell
so
University.
you were smart with it though. That was good. You
No, I
wasn't
was
Yeah, at
smart
least
with
it
it.
was-
not
at least
between
that.
classes and you know what I'm saying?
No. I wouldn't even have that shit with me.
Smart shit.
So let me wrap this story up, man.
No, take your time.
I got to tell you this story because, once again, like I said, I believe in when you believe in something, and that shit is not going to happen, but the way you believe in that shit, you believe it. Magic happens. So, graduate from Cornell. Still focused on law school, and the number one law school at the time was Georgetown University. So, applied for that shit. Got accepted into like some other schools like Buffalo, shit like that. Brooklyn Law turned me down. Fuck them.
Well, damn.
Fuck y'all. Nah.
Fuck y'all niggas.
Because I remember like being from Brooklyn, like y'all niggas turned me down, nigga. So, Georgetown put me on the wait list, and then I had nobody who I'm the first person who would go to college. I don't know what the fuck a waiting list means. It's like, oh, you good, but you just got to hold on. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, do you? So now, my fucking immigrant ass.
Shout out to the immigrants.
I get the dean of students number, and I just start calling him every day.
Oh wow!
I'm like, you know, stalking this nigga, and they not taking my calls. So I'm calling this nigga for like 6 months. I gotta get in. I gotta get in. I gotta get in. I gotta get in. Nothing. So we in August now, like right around now, like August 15th maybe. I'm in the Paradise Garage, like 6 in the morning, nigga. I'm fucking flying off mescaline.
Damn.
Mad high.
Flying in. You just hear the fucking the fucking nerve synapses in your brain burning. That's how fucking, you know what I'm saying? Just to give you a description. Allegedly. It's probably like 5 in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. I run into my boy, Sam Galloway, from Xavier High School. We went to high school together. He went to Connecticut College, and then he was studying to be a state trooper in Connecticut. So he's there with his girl that I meet for the very first time. It's in Paradise Garage. Niggas, Sodom and Gomorrah going on in the dance. Niggas is getting jacked off, you know, mad, head, like just it's crazy. Niggas getting, like it's crazy. Right?
Sounds like life.
We talking, and he's like, yo, what are you going to do next year? And I was like, yo, I don't know. Like, I might take the year off, reassess my life.
Wait, you said that?
Yes, yeah. Like, I was preparing to take the LSATs again.
Okay.
To do better, to get to you know, solidify that I went to the law school that I wanted to go to, which was Georgetown. So it's 5 in the morning, garage. You can smell cocaine burning in the air. Like, you can smell that shit. So visceral. He's like, what you doing? I was like, I don't know. I'm on the waiting list for Georgetown. His girl says, oh, my God, my aunt dates the dean of students at Georgetown. And I just got sober. I just got sober.
Yeah, high just went away.
Yeah. The high was like,
Not for real.
Turned all that shit down.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to talk to your aunt. The next day I talked to her aunt. She's like, oh, Teddy's not giving you a call back? I'll talk to Teddy. Monday, I'm on the phone with the dean of students. Friday, I drive down to Georgetown to meet him. The next day, the next Monday, I get a Western Union telegram saying I'm in Georgetown.
Shit.
Nigga, I was high on mescaline when I got it. you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
But it's just that power of belief and that power of thought. And is that early enough, man?
I feel like I want to hear more, though.
I love this because we don't hear this and we don't know.
We really don't.
Exactly.
We don't know you. So I
we
feel
just
like,
know him as like the podcast dog.
Yeah.
That's it.
But I want to go back to hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, when hip hop is coming, like you mentioned, Eric B and Rakim during that time. Who was you heavy into?
I mean, first wave was the first generation was Melly Mel and Grandmaster Caz. Them niggas couldn't do no wrong. The Cold Crush Brothers,
Nice.
The Cold Crush Brothers, and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Second wave, like Run DMC, nigga, like Run DMC.
Yeah.
Them niggas was still they was gods. Like these niggas.
Suck MC is the greatest hip hop song ever.
When you first heard Sucker MCs, you was
Ever.
like the game just about to
Ever.
the game just
Agreed.
changed. And you saw Rock Box and them niggas had on Adidas and leather suits
The
with
swag
fedoras.
was different. The swag was
And
different.
then, and you know, so was Run DMC.
Shout out to Queens.
Shout out to Queens.
Facts.
Shout out to Queens. And then, you know, Eric B and Rakim has some hits. Kane.
Yeah.
Kane.
Yeah.
Kane. Brooklyn. Nigga, who's high
King
top flows like
Asiatic.
89? The King Asiatic. Kane.
Yeah.
Kane. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember like Rakim was God. Like Rakim was God body MC. And Rakim was like totally infallible. Like this nigga was from another planet.
Right.
You know, I came in the door. I said it before. Like niggas didn't rhyme like
And
that.
he
so
ain't
this,
curse.
He didn't curse.
And he did not curse.
This nigga was from
Clean
another
He had
planet.
that attitude.
This
like,
nigga was from another planet. But I remember one time sitting in my bedroom smoking weed and WBLS kept playing Warm It Up Kane. Warm It Up Kane. Warm It Up Kane. So I'm listening to Kane and then this fucking light bulb hits me. I was like, yo, Kane could probably eat Rakim's food.
Uh-oh.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
That was the Jay-Z and Nas conversation
Yeah,
back then.
But
For real.
but so I was like Kane.
Uh-oh.
And then Boogie Down Productions, man. Like KRS-One, like KRS-One was such a savage, man.
Yeah.
Beast.
He just
Different.
came from
I love
out
him.
of the blue, man. Just out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? Dissing niggas, like dissing the like KRS-One. So, you know, Public Enemy. You know, just the EPMD, them niggas.
Damn, some music was really different.
The
bro.
EPMD, my nigga, EPMD. So those are the that wave that I might be missing some other cats, but them niggas was like corner stuff. Who else am I missing, man?
You wasn't messing with NWA? You wasn't messing with West Coast at that
Nah,
time?
you know what?
They didn't hit you too?
So in '89, niggas was talking about NWA. I remember I went to the fucking, I didn't know what to expect. Got the cassette, put it in the Walkman, and I was like, damn, these niggas is ill. But it wasn't me being a fan of them as like say, because KRS and them really spoke my geographical language.
That's a fact.
You understand? These niggas was showing me that rap could be dope outside of
New York.
because we thought New York, I mean Cali niggas was corny. Like we
Right.
thought y'all
Yeah,
niggas
nah,
got
for
Jerry
real.
curls. Y'all popping it like y'all niggas got trees out there and
Like,
you know
y'all
what I'm saying?
stupid.
Yeah, y'all, you know what I'm saying? That y'all had all types of burger chains that we didn't have out here. What's that burger chain? You know what I'm saying? They had
Fat Burger?
Not fat. It was
In
way
and Out.
before Fat Burger.
Oh.
Rodney Allen Rippey. This I forgot. Anyway, I'm showing my age.
Oh, you remember the commercial Rodney Allen Rippey? The chick, never
Chick-
mind.
yeah,
I'm
you
showing
know-
my age.
yeah, yeah,
Whoa,
but you
whoa,
know-
whoa,
We all know you
But that
are.
nigga. So
I was just playing.
So I knew
I'm sorry.
LA niggas was corny, and all of a sudden LA niggas was scary.
Yeah.
Because they was talking about the GAT. Niggas didn't say,
Yeah.
nigga, we didn't know what the fuck a GAT was.
Niggas talk different.
Yeah.
Niggas talk different.
For real.
And I'm fucking with these niggas, and they got Jerry curls. You know how hard that is for a New York nigga back then to give it up to niggas with Jerry
Curl
curls?
facts.
For real.
West Coast niggas say whoop-de whoop. You don't know if he's trying to give you dap or trying to clap you. You're like,
Yeah.
whoop-de what?
Yeah, man, it was a special time, man, because not everything, but when the music hit, that shit was hitting. That shit was, because it started taking a different level. It was like niggas got into politics, like the Public Enemy shit was real, man. That shit was like the music they was doing, like the Bomb Squad, and
They did all the Ice Cube shit.
yeah, they did all the Ice Cube
real.
shit. Man.
Legendary
They
to
did
this
all
day.
the Ice Cube shit. That first
Yeah,
album
that
was
first album was
classic. Man.
classic.
Like, yeah. So yeah, those are the cats that I was into.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, during that period.
So like, when did you get into? I want to say hip hop law.
1989, I got an internship at Def Jam University. I mean, I call it Def GC.
Wow.
See, that's
Def Jam
that's how
University.
fucked up
Yeah.
I'm in the head
Yeah.
because to me, Def Jam is the greatest hip hop university that ever existed. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's the Harvard of hip hop because
I respect
9 out of 10 niggas that changed the world
Came through
Came
there.
from
in
Def
hip
Jam.
hop.
That's real
Def Jam.
shit.
And I'm talking about from like the big shit to like, you know, like I'm a late bloomer, and I'm a you know what I'm saying.
I feel
I'm a graduate, you know, Bobito, you know, so many executives, man. Chris Lighty got arrested. I mean, just so many executives that changed the game. Def Jam. So I got into that in '89. I was only there for. I was only at Def Jam for 4 months though.
Oh wow.
Because my boss got fired.
Oh shit.
Who was your boss?
Andy Tavel. He was an attorney that they brought in, and Andy's a good dude. Andy's gone on to do great things in the legal world, but he brought me in. And so, you know, I came in one day. It was like, Andy got fired. I was like, what does that mean for me? It's like, nigga, they started, So I just picked up.
So
You just knew,
what the
like-
fuck
You
that
didn't get to
meant.
you didn't get to politic with Leo and Russell. And
I mean, Russell was around a lot. Leo wasn't in the building at the time. Def Jam was smaller. Def Jam was like it was a label, but it was more of a production company under Columbia, under Sony.
Mhm.
So this is before like the Universal acquisition. Like they were
Right.
still like the offices was small.
this was cocaine
like-
Russell, right? At
This
that
was
time.
cocaine. Russell would come in, smell
Yeah.
like cigarettes.
That's-
But I remember one time, like I was the low man on the totem pole, so Russell wasn't really fucking with me.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say,
You
like
know, he
the
was
chance
like,
of you
why
crossing
you
paths
fucking with
him.
me? He was fucking his man at the time. For the kid from my generation, from my class, that was the A student at Def Jam was Bobito.
Mhm.
Like he loved. You could see Bobito. They was giving Bobitos the keys to climb up.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one time, my girl at the time was a model. Like she was a fashion model, so she was tall. She went to Cornell also. So, and Russell was heavy into the model. So I remember one time, I ended up going to some exclusive party with my girl, and I see Russell in there.
Ooh.
Russell is like, it's exactly what he said to me. What the fuck you doing here, nigga? But the
Damn.
way he said it was like, and that's your girl too. Goddamn, nigga, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
feel you.
So that was probably the extent back then of my interaction with
Wait.
Russell.
I feel you. I get
Did you tell him about that interaction?
Yeah, I told him about that.
He remembers.
Yeah. Nah, he don't remember.
He was probably
that
high.
was
He was
cocaine
probably high.
Russell, right?
Probably
Yeah.
higher than
That's
a
cocaine
kite.
Russell.
Yeah,
For
and,
real.
you know,
That says it all. That
I want to fast forward to Rockefeller. How'd you get into Rockefeller?
I had been in private practice working for my legal mentor, Louise West.
Okay. Shout out to Louise.
And Louise is a pioneer black attorney, amazing, who, went to Howard University, was mad connected with like the Herbie Hancocks and the Quincy Joneses, but also tight with like Sylvia Rohn, knew all the executives in the game, Jewish, black,
well
women.
connected.
And she had done such a great job working in R&B, but she knew that the times was changing. So when I interviewed her, she knew like, oh, this nigga's really into rap,
Yeah.
and I got to really start diversifying my client base. So working with Louise, the first rap deal I ever did was for this group called Two Kings in a Cypher, which would later come back and bless me, because the two members of Two Kings in a Cypher was Derek Angeletti and Ron Lawrence.
Oh, wow.
And
D-Dot?
So D-Dot, the story is,
Wow.
it's, D-Dot, Puff,
Yeah.
Harv Pierre,
Bad
the
boy. Bad boy
Howard
nucleus.
University crew.
Yeah.
They was all in a crew together.
Mm.
And Puff was always focused on the music industry, but the first nigga that really got in the music industry was D-Dot, Derek Angeletti. Like, he was the first person to crack the code
Yeah.
out of that. So when Puff really started coming up, he hired D-Dot as ground zero for the Hitmen producers. So, but, during that time, we're doing some of these little rap deals here and there. And Louise was representing Clark Kent, so that's how I met Clark Kent. And Clark Kent was an A&R
Atlantic.
at East West, which
East
is a
West.
subdivision of Atlantic,
Yeah.
and he wanted to sign these two groups,
Original.
Original Flavor and Future Sound, and they would be managed by these two teenage cats, Darian and Damon Dash Management. So I think Damon was 17. So we did both of them deals, and I just remember just looking at these niggas. They was a couple of years younger than me, but I was like, and y'all teenagers, and y'all walked away with like $150,000 in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like, so Damon was always that nigga, like that cocky,
Yeah.
Oh.
fast talking, smart talking. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Damon used to stress me out because I realized at a certain point I
Nothing
couldn't
changed.
argue with that nigga. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't out argue that nigga,
Now he's
and he would
That-
stress me out.
That's a
because
statement from a lawyer, though.
he's just it's not even. It's very few people. Like I would want to hear an argument between Charlemagne, Damon Dash, and Star.
Oh
from
man,
Star and Buck Wild.
That'd
Just
be epic.
I think
that's
Star
beautiful.
I don't know. I don't
probably
know
give it
because
to
I don't know.
I might give it to
I don't
Dame.
know because
I might have to
Dame
give it to
is so
Dame.
disrespectful.
Dame
Yeah, I
won't
might have
stop.
to give it
But
to
see, why
Dame.
you gotta get disrespectful?
But that's Dame.
We
Dame.
Yeah, I was
can
gonna
we can keep a
say.
respectful
No,
argument.
Dame can't
Nah,
keep
he-
a.
nah,
Dame
he-
can't.
nah,
That's
he-
That's
disrespectful.
violating. That's
Nah.
what's
He
violating.
he
Ain't got
started.
time for
You
that.
work a job. I'm better
Wrong
than
and
you.
strong,
Yeah,
right?
but then so is Star.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
like
Star
that's
some
what it
real
is.
slick shit.
Like I would love to see an argument
Oh,
between
shit.
Star, really Star and Dame. To the
Yeah.
death. You know what I'm saying? I would
Now,
pay
that'd be
money
dope.
to see a fucking debate with those cats.
The MMA match, boy.
So you know, so
For real.
anyway, so through Clark, Dame, Ski was always there, and then I just remember Clark brings Jay-Z to the office, and we around a mad creative niggas. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's thinking Jay is that nigga. I'm not thinking Jay's that nigga, but I just remember the first time I met him, and I've said this story before. Like silver was in, like niggas had like silver bracelets, silver chains, silver was in. So this nigga had the most immaculate silver chain I had ever seen in my life. So I was like, yo, man, I've never seen no silver like that. And he was like, hey.
I love the way he does his laugh.
And I was actually insulted. Like, why is this nigga so fucking cocky? I just complimented this nigga.
No, especially the way he laughed. It sounds like sort of like nigga, like shut up,
My shit is lit,
like condescending
nigga. I
for
know
real.
my
But
shit is
both were
fire.
like,
You tryna
silver,
play
right? Silver, right? Fuck you, Jay-Z.
What a hoe.
No shots, but I'm just saying that.
No shots.
Back then, maybe.
That's
no shots, but
exactly that's exactly how I felt.
No shots,
And
but
then when I
shots.
heard later
Nah, you
when
saw his face though.
when the nigga had a record talking about niggas asked me if this silver and this platinum, like, yo, is that me, nigga? Fuck you, Jay-Z.
Ah, damn, he was talking about you.
I mean, I hope not, but I'll
How you
take the
took
credit.
shots on combat, imaginary player. Right?
Facts, right?
So yeah, man, but we was just fortunate, man. Like, that mad cats that was around us just naturally from our generation.
Yeah.
Like Puff was just a fly nigga in the streets. We didn't know Puff was gonna be like the best that ever did it. We didn't know like Dame and like you couldn't tell us to bet on niggas. It was just like niggas was just moving
Yeah.
and having a good time,
Everybody was hustling.
having a great time. And then just like every other wave, like so we had it from the the artist wave with like Jay and Rockefeller. We had it from the production wave with like we represented at least 80% of the hitmen producers.
Wow.
And then just like every year,
That
like,
was Stevie J as well, right? Or-
Right?
actually Stevie J, Puff at the time referred Stevie J to us. Stevie J, his father. I remember Stevie coming into the office, man, with his girlfriend. He's straight out of high school, and his father, who was a pastor. And Stevie was such a church boy, man. Just like you could tell, well mannered and just real polite. And yes, sir, no, sir. And I'm like 3 years older, and he's like, yes, sir, no, sir. And just real modest, you know what I'm saying? And me and Ed Woods, I remember talking to him like, yo, don't let this industry change you, my nigga. Like, for real, like, stay focused. You got your girl with you, your high school sweetheart. Next time I saw that nigga, man, was working with Puff, I seen that nigga in the club with a big-ass fur vest on and no shirt.
Always with a mink.
A mink vest on with
Mink
no
vest.
shirt.
No shirt.
And I was like, yo,
Nigga always
how
got a
wait,
mink
how
What
you,
happened?
like, what happened? Like, that shit was fast. You went from, like, church boy to, nigga, where's your shirt, my nigga?
Never wearing a shirt again.
Never wearing a shirt again, man.
For real.
And then, so, like, I would say from, like, 96 to 2001, we had something in the top 10 charts. Like, even, like, clients that even wasn't bubbling at the time, like, Prophecy Productions or Prophecy Entertainment. I remember them coming into the office one time saying, yo, I think we got a hit. We ran into Buster last night at McDonald's, and we just played him a track. I was like, what'd y'all do? So they put the tape in, do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Do-do-do-do-do.
One of
Outta
my
here.
favorite songs.
Do-do-do. So I was like, yo, so
Outta here.
everything that was coming out of our office, I remember my boy Matt Middleton was representing this. I just kept hearing about this nigga DMX. Like, we got the DMX files, and I'm not, it's down in the office. I'm not really listening to the music. And all of a sudden, when DMX hits, I was like, yo, we got DMX?
crazy.
That's wild.
So wait, what, you were just securing their deals or like their
Securing
contracts and
their
things
deals,
like
Yeah,
that?
like the
hustling their
in-between
deals,
person.
negotiating their deals,
Wow.
fucking giving them mental counseling, marriage counseling.
Damn.
Niggas shoot up in the club, drunk driving. Yo, here's my criminal. You know, here go my school of criminal
Referrals.
attorneys. Like, what's up,
Yeah.
Ian Niles? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just like, you know, we were representing Shine. Like, I got Shine as this. So when Shine went to buck a shot in the club, man, Ian Niles was there.
bust
Like,
his
we
gun
had
now.
a small community of young niggas
Yeah,
that had you.
that handled everything.
You know what I'm saying? We
Right.
had business managers, Horace Madison. You know, at the time we introduced John Manili to Rockefeller.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like we
Ain't
we
that
made
Jay
that
business
introduction.
partner or something?
They-
Yeah.
for a long time. We
Wow.
introduced. I remember the meeting. We introduced them to Dame. You know what I mean? So it was. Oh man, it was a good time.
I gotta ask this question because I hear him talk about it all the time. The Nori deal.
Yeah.
Nori, like, oh, you got to understand, man. Like, and I'm going down to Miami next week. To be on Drink Champ, so that should be pretty interesting.
That's dope.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, for real.
For real.
Because you always say,
And I was recently
and he
listening
said
to
it.
episode
He
2.
go, combat jerk me, combat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a foul nigga. He's a foul
He's a
nigga.
foul nigga.
He still says that shit.
He
Yeah,
still
he be
Yes,
like,
he
says that
does.
shit.
he's a
like-
foul nigga. He's a
Even
foul
though
nigga.
this nigga keeps saying, just,
But he be like, he
But I have a
respect. He be like, I
theory
fuck
on
with
But no, he
combat.
said I fuck with
He be like,
combat
I fuck
though.
with combat.
Yeah.
But
You understand, and not to take
This
off
is
the
A King,
tangent,
by
but
the way.
Yeah.
Nori's he's new to the podcast world,
Right.
Uh-huh.
and he knew to fast track his way in.
Yeah.
Ah.
Saying, these stories that, kind of will keep his name in that conversation,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
have him standing toe to toe with a combat.
Combat.
Yes.
The other guys and the other guys. So
Yeah.
he had to keep bringing up the old shit that was
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
dealt with already.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that's the first thing.
Because his name came when he go,
No,
Reggie
not to
Osse,
take away
Reggie
from
Osse jerk
he's
me.
doing a good job. It's just
Yeah.
that he didn't have to go through the.
I mean,
Pressures.
Nori's already been
It's
on
Nori.
he's been on
Right,
the show.
right.
We talked about, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
He'll bring it up.
Yeah,
But nah,
he
yeah.
does.
It'll come up.
so
Nori, we
so
need you
this
to
is the
come
story.
out
You
here.
gotta understand, man. Me and my crew
can
is
shoot him to 5
Me
or
and
be
my
quiet.
me and my crew is running hard, doing all these crazy, major, big deals.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
crazy multi-million-dollar deals. It's fucking January 23rd. I mean, December 23rd. Like, niggas is trying to shut down. They're all, like, it's vacation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I
Yeah.
want to go home. I think we just had our second son. You know, my wife and I, so I just wanted to go home. You know what I'm saying? But Trad just got this deal, Penalty Records, CNN.
$5,000.
And the deal, like, I think our pay was $5,000. It was a modest deal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was one of those deals where I was already burnt out, and I was already questioning. Like I started in the beginning, I'm an artist. Like, I feel like I'm a creative mind.
Yes.
So even though I was doing my thing in law, I was like, is this my passion?
Like, you needed more.
No, I needed something different. I
Like
didn't
to
know
stimulate.
and have a passion for, because now the work was just getting harder, and I realized I didn't.
And it felt like work.
I like being in the environment, but the work, the contracts. I swear to God, when I look back on it now, negotiating contracts always stress me out.
It sounds stressful.
It's just stressful.
The back and
Arguing with
forths and all of
motherfuckers, you
that.
know what I'm saying? Just arguing. You got Jews, you got thugs. You just it's
Yeah.
arguing.
Wait, you said Jews?
He
No,
said
because
Jews
no,
and thugs.
no, just because I'm
Jews
not.
are the thugs.
Well, I would say this.
Technically.
I just remember some of the most aggressive, nastiest cats would go at us on the phone, just so disrespectful. And I would see them, and they'd be like 5'4", like this little Jewish cat. And I'd be so we'd be in the club, me and my partner, like really like not assaulting them, but like, yo, give us a real grip, my nigga. Like just like manhandling them for all that
real.
shit that they talk. Shit was stressful. So it's the end of the year. I'm like, well, we getting 5,000. So I'm skimming through the papers, and Penalty was a subsidiary of Tommy Boy. I had done mad deals with Tommy Boy, but this is the first time doing Penalty. So their publishing paragraph was structured different. So I just skimmed through it. I skimmed through it. I really skimmed through it and didn't see the clause where it said Penalty's really taking these niggas publishing.
Oh shit!
Right.
Shit.
So I don't find out until 4 months later, and I'm like, what? No, so I'm going back at Penalty. Like, we can't. And they're like, no, nope. So that was a mistake. I botched that fucking deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, but how did I jerk the nigga? I didn't make no extra money off that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You the nigga, y'all some grimy niggas from left. Niggas don't know who the fuck a CNN is. At the time, it was a throwaway deal, like a shot, like a singles deal leading into an album. If y'all sold some shit, and when I found out that I fucked up that deal, I felt bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I don't need that shit on my name.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I never got a chance. Like, and me and Traj, like Traj saw how stressed out I was about that shit because it was really his deal. They were going through him.
Mm-hmm.
So Nori didn't really know the
25 to life,
I know,
right?
yeah, 25 to life. So I never, but a couple of years later when Nori started popping,
Yeah.
and we'd be all in the Hamptons, and Nori was having a party and shit, and some chicks that would come from his crib to our crib was like, I don't know if you can get in that party, Reg. You know what I'm saying? Because Nori specifically said at this party, fuck Reggie Osse.
Oh wow.
Shit.
You understand? So I knew I was like, when I see him, maybe, we'll talk about it or something. But I never got to see Nori until like 4 years ago on my podcast. So when he came up there, I was like, yo, my nigga, first thing we're going to talk about is I apologize for fucking up your deal. Like, I fucked up your deal. Like, I that shit, I carried that shit like a fucking cross.
The dope shit about that moment, though, was that we were prepping the show, and he's telling the story in the intro. Nori's in the green room saying the same thing. And we're Combat's wondering, damn.
This was at PNC, right?
No, this is after this post. This is post PNC. So he's like, yo, I wonder if Nori even knows, but I want to tell him. You know what I mean? And Nori's in the back in the green room, like, damn, I haven't seen him since that.
Yeah.
So they're both like, that's still lingering.
Oh wow.
And it was dope moment. They was able to sit down and like,
Because Nori came out was like, yo, I thought for you it was business as usual. I thought you didn't even know.
right.
It's like, nigga, I carried that shit like a fucking cross. Like, you know what I'm saying? How do you fucking fuck up another man's deal?
Yep.
As serious as I was with my craft and with my fucking name.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I
With
feel
my
it.
name. Like, it got to a point where when I realized that I didn't have the drive and passion for the law anymore, I left because I was like, I'm not fucking up my reputation. I'm not fucking up
doing
somebody.
this to anyone
So wait, you stopped law at that time?
No, not that,
Well,
but it was a series of things
Yeah.
Yeah.
throughout my 15-year run that I was like, you know what,
This ain't for you.
this ain't for me.
I
Wow.
respect it.
But that was one of them because it was like, yo, if I fuck up mad niggas deals, then I'm a grind. Like, now I'm a grind ball.
I feel you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
'Cause you're
saying?
not
But
even in it like that no more.
but that shit hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So right now, and I get it, but Nori and I could joke, and it's cool because he knows like the conversations that I have with him. It's all good. Like
Right.
he's like, you're a real nigga. Like
Yeah.
you're very honest in how you approach the situation. It's these fuck boys that hear Nori say that shit,
And they take it and
Yeah.
run with
and
it.
they've taken and run with it. Where I even went like I'll look at the comments. I like whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then I'm having dinner with somebody and they're like, yo, somebody was like, yo, they don't fuck with Combat. And I was like, did you not listen to the Nori?
Like Nori says it in
Yeah.
jest. He says it in
He
jest.
says it in
People
jest.
don't
Just,
understand.
just to be funny.
But we in a shock-driven culture right
Facts.
now.
Yeah,
So it's
for
like,
real.
they're not looking
Clickbait.
at the
That's what they
fine-
Take it
want.
and run
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, and like honestly, this is no shots, and I ain't trying to stir the pot.
Shots
but
for shots.
In my opinion, there's somebody else that should be liable for that. There was an acceptance of, like, nobody said, "Yo,
I know who
you
you're talking
gave me
about.
this extra bread. Like, what's up with that? Like, let's
know who you're talking
fix that." I mean, that was an issue with them, I guess. But
Yeah.
why they ain't talking about
That
And that's why I
person.
said
Yeah.
Nori is
Yeah.
coming from a genuine place. He's just trying to fast track his way.
But it's
In the-
and
in
so
the- in the
niggas is
podcast
like
game.
Combat. Like I wake up and I be like,
But he says it in a funny way.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
yeah,
always
but
joking about it.
he jokes
he'll
about
Because
joke
he always
about
says,
it.
"Combat,
Yeah.
that's my nigga." Right.
but these other niggas.
But now when Memphis Bleak get on there and they
So let me-
having a conversation,
Yeah,
again,
then it becomes
then
this
becomes
whole
like,
other
oh
thing.
Okay, so
shit.
let me tell you
And
about.
you know, Bleak is a Brooklyn nigga. He like,
So
Yeah.
let me tell you that story.
Shout out to
I
Bleak,
gotta tell you
Warehouse
that. I gotta
Music.
once again because I
Shout out to Warehouse Music.
gotta
Shout out to
put
Deuce.
respect on my own name. Right?
I like that. I'm gonna start using that now.
So now Dame is building Rockefeller. He's like, I want to sign A, B, C, and D. You know, like I remember drafting the management contract between him and Poetical Prophets. Some niggas was mob deep. You know, and finally Dame came in one day. He's like, yo, rip that contract out. Like, Them niggas is just they too wild. I can't manage them.
This is early Mobb Deep.
Poetical Prophets.
They was what?
That's
Poetical
not,
Prophets.
What, that Juvenile Hell time? Or?
Juvenile Hell before Juvenile Hell.
Oh wow.
They had the shanks and all that
That's
shit.
when they was wild.
No, they wasn't shanks. They were fucking
Scalpels or some shit.
fucking
I remember seeing me the music box with the shorty. I'm like, that's scary.
sickles. They were sickles.
Oh, yeah, sickles.
Niggas had sickles.
Scary niggas.
Right? So Dame is like, sign these niggas to my new label, Rockefeller. You know, everything at the time, every contract is a template. Every contract, you just print that shit out. Print that shit out and it's there. So it's two minds. If I'm representing you as a label, if I'm representing you as a publishing company, if I'm representing you as a production company, my responsibility to you is for you to get half their publishing because of the investments that you're making.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm representing an artist, my responsibility to you is you give up zero publishing.
Right.
That's my fucking job.
Yeah.
I'm representing my clients in the best fucking aspects of what they need for their business interests.
Right.
So I draft the contract, 50% publishing goes to Rockefeller, Bleak's publishing because that's the game. And if them niggas want to negotiate it down, they can. So I remember we started Bleak's. You know, I didn't represent Bleak at the time, because I was representing Rockefeller. But Bleak's lawyer was, well, what's up with the publishing? And Dane was like, I don't do business like that. I don't jerk my niggas like that. Take that shit out, Reg. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay. I was like, are you sure? Because that publishing is key. I'm representing my, no, take that shit out. I don't do business like that. So I took it out. So years later, I'm the bad guy?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You understand? What am I getting from that? Like, who am I jerking?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel
I'm
you.
representing Rockefeller. I want them to get everything. If I'm representing fucking whoever, I want you to keep everything. That's the fucking game.
Yep.
Wait.
There's thousands of other lawyers out there that y'all niggas is sucking off that jerked thousands of niggas.
Sucking off.
But you know the white man's ice is colder, so y'all continue sucking
I was
them.
about to say that was the Jewish.
Yeah, I was gonna
man.
say the Jews though.
Nah, they do.
Yeah.
So let's
That's how
find
they do business.
your tenure at the Source. You know, I'm a kid that worshipped the Source growing up. What happened at the Source?
Damn.
Before?
Yeah, like, you know, because
It went from being the rap
every
Bible
year
to like
it kept
Like it just
because the
Jehovah's
Source's
Witness
word to me was, yo, if the Source gave an album 5 mics.
5 mics. That's it.
Yeah,
It
that
shit was a
Bible?
classic.
classic.
Nah,
It was
it
gospel.
was
Then the
facts.
magazine
Yo, let me tell you
became.
something.
Then
It was a
Let me
rap
tell you
the
Bible.
something.
magazine looked like the Daily
they
News later.
sold artists sold records based on
The
a
Source
review
The
or
Source,
or
yeah.
ranking.
No, let me tell you the
I
story.
agree 100%.
Let me tell you this story, man. When the Source was sizzling, them niggas did a 3-page piece on me,
Yeah.
right? 3-page piece on me. Photos, a whole 9. A lawyer man piece, right?
I think I remember that issue.
Right.
You're old ass.
Next thing I know, and we talking about the big phones. Some chick is blowing up my phone, like, yo, what's up? She's like, oh, I saw you in the Source. One of you work with so and so.
Yeah.
And I just had to have your number. Blah, blah. Like the chicks was blowing up my phone
Off of that.
just off the.
The 3-page.
Can you get in the cab? Like, you know what I'm
So
saying?
a
Like,
lot, so that spread got you a lot of moisture. There was a lot of moisture coming in.
Yo,
niggas.
fam.
I think
Yo, we need a 3-page spread in the magazine now. Like some other shit.
I mean, but what
Yo.
magazine would it be, man?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's really no
Something,
magazine holding.
There's no
anything
it's like
that.
really like
digital.
Stash is
I would
lit
say
right
Digital
now.
magazine.
Yo,
I was gonna
yo,
say
Dig-
that.
Kaz,
digital
we need
magazine.
Yeah.
A 3-page
Stash is
spread.
lit.
digital magazine,
Yeah,
New York Times. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
but that's how
moisture.
that's
A
how
lot of
That's
moisture.
how
that's
powerful?
the strength of how the Source was back then.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
nigga
For
had
real.
3 pages.
Easy.
And the pant, you know what I'm saying? Panties dropping.
That
Like,
sounds so
No
popping though.
panty.
huh?
No panty.
No
No, they
panties.
had pants. And I saw them. They dropped.
They dropped.
Seen them.
All the time.
I saw them float.
I like how you
Oh,
say panties like
Panties,
that.
no panties.
Anti-man. So yeah, man. But you know, like, y'all all know the story, man. Their journalistic integrity got compromised with the whole Benzino
So
shit.
Benzino fucked it up. That's it.
Benzino fucked
Yeah,
it
I was
up.
gonna say
Yeah.
when he came along. Then.
But,
Made men got 4.5
yeah,
mics.
because when they
Yeah.
when you
You know
know,
what
and
I'm
this,
saying?
I mean, I never even heard of man. Like, you knew Like
you see AK? You see
Yeah.
AK?
No, I'm just asking, like, yeah, I'm waiting. Go.
nigga, like when the source said some shit was 5 mics
That was.
and you heard it,
Yeah.
He was like, damn,
you could
this
be
is
like,
5
"This
mics.
is 5 mics." Yeah, they could have gave it 4.5, but that's splitting hairs.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you hear this bullshit, and they got and you
You-
niggas is not even knowing the relationship between Benzino and Made Men, and when you hear that shit, and then and then some, like the first generation of the Source team was superheroes to me, like Keanu Mayo, Dream Hampton, Bones Malone, like the
Shout out to Dream.
Yeah.
Jonathan Schechter, like Phil. I don't even want to mention too many names because I don't want to forget everybody. But them niggas was like
Doing it.
you was looking at them like
Nah, they was superheroes.
y'all niggas
man.
y'all really got
Yeah.
that rap superhero status.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when that shakeup happened and niggas left, it was still a Source.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, the Source could be shaky now,
Yeah, like that's the rep it got.
right? And then Vibe came out, so Vibe was like. Vibe was bigger. It was giving like these, the first time you saw Tretch in black and white,
Mm-hmm.
or Snoop Dogg, or you know what I'm saying, or Mary J. Blige, or they, when
they
even
did
before
Pac.
Puff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Gideon,
even
yeah.
before Pac,
Yeah.
these niggas gave Puff a story before Puff popped, and
Yep.
it was like, you know what I'm saying, like these niggas was ahead of their fucking curve.
Visionaries,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
Knew
art.
what
It was
doing.
art. They brought,
It was on the
because
pulse of the game.
their, their whole Quincy Jones's whole thing was the Source magazine is just a magazine about hip hop. Let's do a
Everything.
magazine about
Culture.
the
Culture.
art and class
Yes.
and the fucking, you know what I'm saying? Just the
Like more of
let's
a
start
culture.
bringing in, because the Source was us doing the Source, the flyers of us. But now they started bringing in, these, white photographers like Herb Ritz, like cats that were doing like Vogue. They started bringing those photographers in. So I think that kind of chinked away a little bit at the Source armor. But then when Elliot Wilson took over Double XL,
Oh, man.
It was over.
and they was duking it out, and when Elliot was so disrespectful in his editorials, that shit was so fly.
Yeah, yellow nigga took shots.
That nigga was like, I'm single-handedly gonna take the Source down.
But didn't he work at the Source? Did he pass through?
I don't know if he passed through the Source. I don't know.
did?
I don't think he passed. I don't think he passed through
I
the
could have
Source.
sworn he did a fight.
He saw an opportunity.
Yeah, he saw it
seized
up,
on it.
yeah,
Said,
and he
"You
took
know
that
what?
rapper aggressiveness and
Yeah.
brought it to and then the game changed. Like
Yeah.
publishing
Yeah.
changed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not giving ads, and then this new management. Not gonna speak more on that, but
The Source.
The Source did that.
long live the Source.
For real. Shit.
So fast forward
Nah,
now.
for
How'd you
real.
get into internet radio?
Yes.
A King
Yeah.
could tell you the story.
Yeah.
Man.
King, what's
Let's
up?
hear you
Shout out to
talking.
AK.
What's up, King?
I didn't think that was
AK.
The Black
AK is original up here now, though.
Yo, I love being up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we're-
The coconut
We
oil
love you
user.
here.
For real.
Yeah,
Coconut oil poppy.
George,
Yeah.
the George King.
No, he's the that's,
he's
that's,
the-
that's the
he's
George King.
I just
Yeah.
made my first pair of jorts 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying? I can't wear them though.
That was a
They
good
all
effort
crazy.
too.
You didn't cut them right.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I shouldn't have cut them.
You
I
didn't
should have
cut them
just
right,
rolled
right?
them up.
Yeah.
I fucked up, but it's all good.
We gassed you too. I was like, yeah, that looked good.
Damn, y'all fucked up.
Yeah,
Y'all fucked up.
Yeah.
We had to go out that night. Man.
So Combat Jack happened during Combat Jack show rather when I was at PNC Radio. At the time I was doing content. They asked me to take on other roles. Wasn't getting no money, but I had to figure it out. I was like, yo, it's my time to shine. I want to create some dope shit. So
Yeah.
this is during the height of like the blog game, and the internet was really in the urban space was finding its voices. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna find all the hot internet cats, male, female, whatever,
Put them together.
and I'm gonna give them a platform.
Wait, sorry to cut you off. How'd you come up with the name Combat Jack?
Yeah.
Word, I always want to ask that.
Oh, he came up with the name.
That's something he
Oh, that was
made.
yours.
No, I
Okay.
didn't come up
Yeah,
with the-
'cause he was
I didn't-
known
that's
as
Oh,
on
but you
him.
had the
that.
idea for the show.
I didn't even know who Combat Jack was.
Right,
It
right.
Was, Combat Jack wasn't a thing to the masses yet.
Where did that name come from? Your
He
comic
was
book
in his
background?
mastermind
or-
shit while we didn't know nothing was going on. It's like a whole different thing that was happening, at this concurrently,
Yeah.
So I guess he could explain when I.
No, you continue, man. You tell us what you focus on.
I'm gonna holler at everybody that's hot. So like, if I remember correctly, Tanya Morgan was doing shout out to Tanya Morgan. They were one of the first podcasters in the rap world that I could remember. But it wasn't a thing. Like nobody was trying to download podcasts or listen to podcasts in the rap world. So I reached out to them. Twitter was new, so I was seeing who had buzz on and all that. So I reached out to John Will. He's from Brooklyn. Well, he lived in Brooklyn, whatever. Then a couple other people, and then I always used to see Dallas Penn. Different events, out and about. He had this thing called Internet Celebrities. Yeah. And I thought it was very witty and funny. I'm like, yo, I see this dude around, but I don't know him. Went to an event, seen him. Exchanged numbers, trying to build with him. He's another weirdo. I think all the weirdos in this hip-hop shit, those are like the illest motherfuckers in the... Always. You know, that's the bag. When you want to get a bag, you got to go find a weirdo. Always.
Right? I'm a weirdo?
You know you a weirdo.
No, why about weirdo?
I can't talk about that on air, bro. Like, you know,
he's like, nah, why am I weirdo though?
Yeah, you know, he just
started calling me a weirdo like a month ago.
It makes sense. I'm like, yo, you're a weirdo too. But reached out to Dallas. It took a little minute because you know he's like Barry Sanders with his shit. Like he's like very elusive. So I had wanted him to come on. I was doing some content, and I said, you know what, fuck that. I don't want to interview you now. I want to do some real shit. We was kicking it. We agreed to meet. He's like, yo, by the way, I want to bring my guy, Reggie, to have this conversation about doing some shit. I was like, all right, yeah, bring Reggie. I don't know who's Reggie. You know,
Reggie, smoking that Reggie.
Your fucking shooter or whatever. You know? So Reggie comes up to the spot. We chilling. And I remember Dallas, he came through with this big Subways or Blimpies or some shit. He was just mayonnaise all over his face. And we had a conversation about doing something. And then we met Reggie Osse. And I think when we left, we exchanged numbers. We shared some ideas. I think after we left Combat, Reggie said to me, he texted me, he was like, yo, listen, look at this link. And it was a link to a blog post. So I'm thinking it's some... You know, some internet shit. But it was his post from his website, for his blog called Daily Mathematics.
Daily Mathematics.
So he was sharing these stories about his time as an attorney under the pen name Combat Jack.
Yeah.
And that was early. Like you must have sent that like first, second post. So I didn't know. No one knew what it was. He kept the relationship with us. And the show didn't happen for a while, like at least a year. But during that 12 months, Reggie Osse, Combat Jack evolved into like a monster. Where it was like, I think from a hip hop perspective, people respected and was in awe that there was a real one that was there during that era of the mid 90s, early 2000s that had some type of credibility in these stories too. Like, yo, this might be, you know, one of those guys.
They heard what I heard.
And then he was penning these dope stories about Dame, Mace, Loon,
Leor, fucking Russell.
Crazy shit. And you like, and these are like lengthy pieces. And
Right.
Yo, it was like the podcast, but you like transcribe. And you're like, yo, this shit is ill.
Yeah.
And you know, Nah Right would cover it. They would throw his shit up and Too Dope. You know what I mean? All that. So that's how we became acquainted with the brother, and then a year and plus later, he was like, you know, he's like
6 years ago. So as y'all are celebrating your first anniversary, this is our 6th anniversary.
Wow.
We've been in the game
this
as
month,
podcast for this month, August.
Wow.
Clap it up, man.
August.
That's dope.
So this is why I came in smiling, because it just reminded me of like,
That's dope.
you know what I'm saying? August.
But I think one of the things that showed me that he was more than what he said he was was when we did the Bring Your Own Blogger barbecue. And remember, this is 2009 summer. We didn't know what the bloggers fared. We were just getting acclimated with that. So we agreed to do this big party.
It would be Dallas Penn and me.
Him and Dallas Penn.
The concept is Dallas Penn.
Right.
Dallas Penn is a fucking, like, to this day, the shit we say, is Dallas Penn's DNA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bandulu.
Internets.
Bandulu.
Internets. That's
Internets.
Dallas Penn.
Yeah.
If you hear anybody say the internets came anywhere else other than Dallas Penn,
they're
they're lying.
Dallas Penn is the fucking the ghost. I mean, he's still here, of course, but
He's still here.
his DNA is all in
Yeah.
the
In what
Combat
y'all
Jack
do.
show.
Mhm.
For sure. That's
So how'd y'all
fun.
hook up with Just Blaze? How he got into the mixture?
I guess he had already been viral with Dallas on the polo shit.
I was about to say that.
You
Dallas
know,
is
but-
heavy. Dallas is heavy with his
Yeah.
polo. man.
But it was during my time at the Source magazine,
Ah.
and we had done he had that show on MTV at the time, on MTV2 called Masters of the Mix, and so I interviewed him for that. But my whole, my ulterior motive is like, I'm gonna get him for the podcast. So I
Yeah.
interviewed Just, and for somebody that's always been in the game for a long time, I had never met Just. I never met Just as an attorney.
Even when you was working at Rockefeller, you didn't.
Bro, this is Rockefeller was, years
different.
before. It was like Reasonable
Oh, that
Doubt.
was Reasonable Doubt time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just
John
was
Street.
Dynasty.
Yeah.
Just was, Blueprint.
Blueprint.
I mean, so I meet Just, and like, you got to come on the show. So he comes to the show, and Just at the time was look at that potato, my nigga. Look at that potato right
Oh,
there. Look,
shit.
look at that
Yo, that's a
behind, right
fucking
behind you.
potato.
That is not a potato.
Yo, that's a fucking real potato.
That is not a real potato.
That's that GMO.
Nah.
G-
Right?
GMO.
I don't want no part of
I
that.
thought that was a toy truck and they just zoomed
Nah,
out.
that shit is a real fucking
Right?
potato. That's
Nigga,
That is
wild.
creepy.
That's
Yo.
French fries for the entire African
That
continent.
can save
Niggas
lives.
could
For
feed
real.
Africa with that potato.
That is creepy.
But anyway, so I use my Source connections to bring Just on as a guest. But between me, Dallas, him, Pete, King, the camaraderie that we had, Ben Hameen, Matt Raz,
Yeah.
I had this dream, and some of my my dreams be coming true.
That's a fact.
Like I had a dream that Just
Yeah.
was on the fucking like a cast member.
yeah.
Ew.
So we were going back and forth like a couple of months on Twitter. I was like, yo, fuck it, man. Stop playing, man. Won't you just join the Combat Jack? She's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait. We got Just Blaze on this? Like, this nigga really?
Like, wait, it's really
What?
happening
Like,
now?
he's going to be in the clubhouse? Like,
Yeah.
It's real.
and that was an ill time, man.
Yeah.
That was
dope.
an ill time. And what's humbling, man, is it's only been 6 years. But it's been different eras.
That's beautiful.
Nah, for
Different
real.
eras of the,
Combat Jackson.
yeah.
And let me just go back to what I was saying. What made me see that he was more than what he advertised was when we did when him and Dallas came up with the idea to do that barbecue. All right, cool. The space probably could only hold 150 people.
That was on
100.
J Street, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I think my wife told me about
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't there for that.
She
This
wasn't
was
there for that,
Before that, I
Okay.
used to show videos and stuff like that. But
Okay,
anyway,
okay.
150 people. We had over 400 people there.
God damn.
To capacity,
Wow.
the outdoor, indoor space. One of
Damn.
the dopest moments in hip hop. Period.
Yeah.
Now, in that party, you had,
When you go back on the footage,
and that's still out there. If you if you go to Vimeo or YouTube and you type in BYOB BBQ,
Internets, look for
Combat
that.
Jack,
2010,
you'll see it.
29,
Pull that up.
2009.
Yeah. In that party, in that barbecue, you had SK from Nah Right,
Mm-hmm.
Mecca
Wow.
from Two Dope Boys. I think that was his second or third day in New York City from
Yes,
LA.
yes.
Wow.
Misinfo, Karen Civil.
We didn't even know who Karen Civil was. at
Karen
the
Civil
time.
before Karen Civil.
Karen Civil.
Karen Civil. You know what I'm saying?
Charles Hamilton was still.
Charles Hamilton,
Wow.
rumored to have lost his record deal from being at that party.
Wow.
This is after he got the viral shit with him getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah,
Oh,
by Shorty.
yeah.
And he was, I think his label told him, like, stay off the cameras.
Yeah.
And I think there was some footage of him and Craig G freestyling.
So Craig G
And
and
I
with
think
that
that
freestyle.
was like, we told this motherfucker. So, rumored, allegedly. But you have all these dope people in one
on
space.
Smash.
Yeah.
If you were on Smash, if you were internets and you was trying to push music or you was
Marcus Troy from
Marcus Troy from
Montreal, who I love this
Peace.
vibe, and I was like, yo, you got to come to this party, and he stopped the trip to L.A. to
Yep.
come to the party, and
Wow.
If you was an internet and you trying to get your music to any one of these blogs, you knew how hard it was. But to have all of these people in one
Together.
house for like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours just chilling.
burning,
Fucking
drinking,
dope.
dancing.
You know, that's what I
Epic.
knew. I'm like, yo, who are these dudes, yo?
But you
Like,
know what it
how
was?
did they get all of these people in?
But you know what?
Info, dude. Miss Info?
But I'm gonna tell you this. This is my thing. It's like you gotta understand. I already had a career
Right.
in the music industry, so
Mm-hmm.
now
Yeah, so
I'm
he was
brand
gonna have
new.
these
I'm brand new in the Twitter game, and I'm looking at
Yeah.
these young niggas. It's like SK is a fucking blog god to me. I'm saying too dope. Like all these
Yeah.
niggas is like so me coming in. I'm like yo like. Fuck all this weird internet shit. I need to meet y'all niggas.
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
would meet niggas. Like I want to meet you. Like I met the god Byron Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Byron Crawford from fucking St. Louis. Don't meet nobody. I made sure I met. And when I met that
Yeah.
nigga, it was like, I was like disappointed because the nigga was so fucking weird. But at the same time, it was meeting like the blog Jay-Z. Like it was like,
Yeah.
yo, like I'm meeting Byron
was
Crawford
big.
tonight. Like you know what I'm saying? Like so that was my thing. Like me and Dallas. Like me and Dallas come from that era. I'm older than Dallas, but me and Dallas come from like the, 80s era. So when me and Dallas linked up, like, because the thing was, niggas had never seen my face. They just seen my pen.
You're writing.
But Dallas pen was everywhere. So I remember
Everywhere.
one time I was in this event that was classy in the back and like general access in the front. So I remember coming in with the wifey and I had on the blazer, you know what I'm saying? This was the Jay-Z button up. I had the Yankees. I was clean, nigga. Rolex on like
Alive.
Got money.
and so I'm walking through and Dallas is in the general area. I'm like, oh shit, that's Dallas. I'm gonna fuck with Dallas. So I walk up to Dallas. I'm like, yeah, I know who you are, nigga. And you know who I am, but you don't know who I am. Then I went into the VIP, got some drinks, came back out. Nigga, I know who the fuck you are, but you don't. So all night, Dallas is, who the fuck are you? And you gotta understand, we fucking with each other. We on each other's blogs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Niggas, that shit, like niggas is, you know what I'm saying? At the time, I'm so fortunate, man. Like that blog period from 2005, 2006 was like the black blog renaissance, man. Like niggas pens, like Sisters was out here. Bomani Jones was a blog. You know what I'm saying? It was these young, all of us. Like it took me back to my youth,
Yeah.
where I could imagine how graffiti artists felt. Like, oh, that's you? Like, you know what I'm saying? That,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
oh, who's this? Who's Cocaine Blunts? You know what I'm saying? Who's Robbie from
Who did that?
from Uncut? You know, Uncut. You know what I'm saying? From or who's, you know what I'm saying? Who's these niggas? So, but Dallas was telling the same stories I was telling in the blogs, except Dallas was on the street grimy side, and I was on the inside. Same night, same fight. But one of us ain't telling. You know what I'm saying? Like I let you tell. It was we had that dynamic.
That's dope.
So ever since we met, me and Dallas was like, yo, we gotta meet niggas in real life. Like we gotta take niggas from behind
Hey, yo.
the computer. Hey, that's a good. Yo,
Hey,
that's
that's
a
a
good
good pause.
Pause.
That was a very
But
good
we
pause.
gotta bring
Oh,
them from
boy.
behind the computer screen
Yeah.
and meet these niggas and dap these niggas up and give these and share a drink with these niggas or burn with these niggas or something. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep it real, like, cause you know the real life shit is always better.
Yeah, for real.
So would you say you're the podfather?
I mean, you know, I won't. I mean,
I would say he is.
Don't be
Nah.
modest.
what is
for
that?
real.
Like, you know what? I think personally that term is corny.
Oh.
The
What term do you
the
prefer?
podfather.
What term do you prefer?
I don't prefer a term.
The
man.
originator?
Nah, I'm not the originator.
You're not,
I mean,
but you
if
made it
I
fly.
gotta give mad props to Juan Epstein for doing this shit at least 2 years before we were. Or it's the real. Like I was on their, I was on their podcast, not knowing what a
know them niggas,
podcast
yeah.
was. I was like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
interviewing these white boys. Why these white boys interviewing me for my blog on some shit? Is this going on radio? Like I didn't know what that. You
Yeah,
know
you
what I'm
didn't
saying?
understand
See,
the
why I say
concept.
that is because for our community,
Yeah.
we fuck with you heavy.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that for
Yes.
us.
This is so surreal.
Because everybody started messing with everybody I've well, at least in my my circumference. What podcast you listen to?
Combat Jack.
Combat
you're
Jack.
on everybody's list.
Combat
Yes.
Jack.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's a
it's
fact.
like
Real
it's the
shit.
general
I remember-
one.
I
Because
remember-
anybody
Your
talk about a
favorite
podcast,
podcast, favorite
they
podcast.
mention
Why don't y'all say
Combat
that?
Jack.
Your
Your
favorite
favorite
podcast,
podcast,
favorite podcast. Just
I
say
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, anybody you ask them what's
That's
their
why
top
every
three.
time I see you, what I call you, Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
I say, yo, that's Jordan to me right there. I say,
Michael
that's
Jackson.
Michael Jordan
I
right
call
there.
I was gonna say
Michael Jackson podcast.
So y'all could call me that too.
Listen,
And
listen, just-
Michael,
just-
which
just-
one?
He's okay with
Just
that.
take these roses we giving you.
Yeah.
Thank
for
you,
real.
man. I love
Take
it, man.
the roses we
And
giving you,
listen,
man.
Yes,
I remember
yes,
being
yes.
at
Take
work,
the roses.
like listening to you and just.
What episode? Do you remember which one?
One of my favorite ones was the one with J. Cole because I didn't really pay attention to
That's one
J.
of the best
Cole.
episodes.
I didn't really pay attention to him like that. I
Yeah.
just knew like, oh, his movies.
I thought all
his
light-skinned
movies-
people fuck
His
with
music
each
is
other.
okay.
I'm done.
I like that look.
It's all right. I remember being at work, like, you know, like typical 9 to 5, being miserable, and I had access to just being able to listen to music or like something, and I didn't really understand what a podcast was. I just knew that people spoke.
Wow.
And
And look at you now.
Exactly. And then I heard that and I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like I felt the whole time I was able to stay like interested in the conversation, and it felt like a conversation. It felt natural, and I love that because I felt like everything else was super structured and it was predictable, and I felt like you gave me something else, and it helped me sort of like not be miserable at work. And I
Wow.
was just like, yo, that's so fucking dope. Like to be able to do that and meet all of these people and let us see that they're also human beings like us, and I felt like I needed to see that, and I felt like that's just such a dope take, because anybody could interview a celebrity and be like,
That's a fact.
yeah,
Facts.
this money, these bitches, how convenient life is for you now, you made it, good for you, clap it up. And it's like to really give perspective on these people being human beings too. Like I love that. I was able to really take that in and sort of like, damn, like
Yeah, you have kept me
Combat
from slapping the
Jack,
shit
like-
out of my boss a lot of times. Real shit. I'm just keeping it
I kept
100.
you from keeping it real.
Yeah, like
keeping it real
mad,
goes
it's
wrong.
been mad times
Yes.
like I'm at work, I'm like, I'm gonna slap the shit out of this nigga today, and I'm like, let me listen to Combat Jack, and I'm
and you
good.
have like a calmness to
Yeah,
you
for
too,
real. Like
the
I hear
whole
you. I'm like,
vibe
all
of
right,
it.
yeah, I'm good right now. Real shit. No, real shit.
Yes.
Like,
You know what it was for me when I actually sat in on the episode with Combat Jack that time?
mhm.
Yeah, I remember you told us.
finally
What-
got
what
to
episode
see
was that?
the Bow-Legged Lou episode.
Yes. Ooh,
So-
yes.
Fire
Like,
episode.
but you know, I'm always a listener. So when I finally got to sit in and see what goes on,
Like the dynamic of everything.
yo, it was like going into Bull's locker room, bro.
that's
It's like,
for real.
yeah,
he's
for
he's
real
really like
shit.
Jordan. Like,
So like,
I
I'm
mean, he know he
sitting
got
there
it.
and I'm like, yo, and I'm looking around. I'm like, yo, I'm at the podcast, bro. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
listening no more. Like, I'm here.
Right.
So, but I'm seeing what's going on. You know, I think like, Combat must have a fucking clipboard. He's just sitting there like this.
Exactly.
That's
you
what it is.
feel
And
that.
it feels natural, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know he knows what he's talking
That's
about.
what I'm saying. When I
Yes.
listen,
know what I
to
mean?
you, I feel like I'm in the conversations. I don't look at it like, yo, Combat is interviewing somebody.
And,
I
but
look
see,
at
the
it like,
dope part, I hear A. King with the slick one line.
exactly. You feel,
Yes.
you
And
feel
this
like,
shit is
you know what it
dope.
is?
I'm like,
You feel like it's
yo.
niggas you chilling with in the barbershop and you're
Yeah.
having a conversation with
Yes.
them. That's what it feels like.
Like it's
But
familiar. It
that's what
doesn't feel
honestly,
like.
that's how it's supposed to. In my opinion, I believe that's
Yes.
what this podcast. Like I always credit white media
Yeah.
for being on the podcast game early.
Mhm.
That's a fact.
You know,
Mhm.
shout out to those who were listening to the podcast when the early iPhone 3.
Right, right.
That was
the
where
fat
the
back.
shit-
Yeah.
When they
It
had
was
the fat
there.
back.
It
Right,
was
right,
there
right,
already.
right,
So
right.
somebody had to already believe in that
Facts, you're right.
platform. But from somebody who was there from the beginning, I could see the appreciation
Mm-hmm.
for the story, for the substance.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't do it all the time, but even on Twitter, I don't want to shoot nobody's hopes and dreams down, but I feel like in this thing, I'm very protective of it, in my opinion. I'm sure he is too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Not to slander anybody, but everybody don't need a podcast. Everybody don't have
I
a
agree.
voice
I
or
agree
the
with
substance.
that.
to-
Agree
or
100%.
to have conversations that are important to our culture, which is so always is a lot of times we get with the fast food shit,
Mhm.
microwave it, and then it becomes disposable, and then it's like, what else is next? I don't want the podcast game to become like that.
What I think now,
Like
I think,
radio is already
Like-
we got the other voice for it, for the alternate.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to alternate to podcast. We gotta.
Yeah.
I
it's
see
true.
it like the early hip hop days. You see
Right.
now you're gonna get a wave of everybody.
Yeah,
But as
and then
time
people
goes
gonna fall
on,
off.
it's gonna weed out who's really dope. You know
Yep.
what I'm
That's
saying?
true, too.
Like everybody's coming in. Yeah, let them do it. Let them come
Yeah.
on the court. But we're gonna see if they last.
And it's similar to the conversation we was
You
having
know?
before the show started. A lot of people get into the podcast game for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
a lot of people is just looking at it as a way to get popular. Like, what's the quickest way to make the next dollar?
Mhm.
a lot of people are not really putting their heart into it for the right reason.
Shit is a grind, man.
Exactly.
This shit is a grind, kid.
Like you wouldn't believe
for
like
real.
how many you wouldn't believe how many messages we get from people like, yo, I want to start my podcast. What advice can you give me? Like we get that constantly.
It got to be something natural because
Exactly.
it's like,
You can't just be trying to follow it because it's like, oh, that's dope
don't
right
think
now.
you're gonna get
If
cool
you're not
off
passionate
of it. Yeah.
about it, then don't do it.
This is a year.
A year.
I mean,
can't
they
believe
got
we
6
here. I
years,
can't.
but it's like
It's
this
a
is
year.
This is 12 months of every week we giving y'all an episode. Every week, every
Yes.
week,
All that good work.
new
Yeah.
topics.
And you know,
Yes.
and I know there's niggas out there who probably thought like these niggas probably just gonna do this for like
Yeah,
a
that's what
couple
they
of
thought.
weeks
Yeah.
and gonna disappear.
Yep. Well, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
And that's what the true test in this podcast game is.
Who's
After-
really
well,
passionate
let's see
about
where
it?
you at in year 2. If you make it to year 2,
Facts.
Yep.
Right.
Week
right.
after week after week.
After
we've
week.
evolved, dude.
Right.
We went from 3 to 8 to to 3. But even with all of that,
In terms of 3 to 8 in the morning.
well,
I mean, what do you mean 3
No, I
to 8?
meant numbers. Like,
Oh, yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
3 people that the whole superhero team, and then
Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
team
but that
then,
took
man.
we could have just bowed out.
Yeah.
Like,
But
yo,
we
man,
love
you
this.
know what?
Like
Yeah.
We out.
I don't even look at. I look at this as my number one job. I have another job where I have an income, but this is my number one job. This is the job that I look forward to coming to every week. Like fuck my other job. Like if I never got a check
Yeah, I
from this,
hope
I'll
your
be
boss
happy. 'Cause
never hears this
Yo,
fucking shit.
I ask him that all the time. Like,
yo, real shit. I say all the time. If
It's
my,
your outlet to
if
do
my
that.
boss hears this, I don't give a fuck. Fuck him. Like
Okay,
I
he's
don't
not
like
gonna
my.
hear it.
I don't
He's
care
not
if he
gonna hear
does
it.
though. I
Y'all-
really don't
y'all
like my
edit
boss.
that shit out just in case.
Yeah, I
man.
really just don't like my
Be
boss.
safe.
But not real shit. Like this is. I look at this as my job. Like I'm passionate about this. Every week when I come and I see these faces, I'm happy. This is like
Yes.
this is my outlet. I'm happy when I'm here.
I
And a lot of
never-
people don't view it like that. They're like, yo, I'm gonna do this and how quickly can I make
Shit,
like
grind.
my next
I
my
thought I
next
was gonna
buck?
hate it. Like I remember they asked me to be on randomly, and I was like, whatever. Hi, my name Kelsey. Like, all right, I don't want to be saying
You know what? Let me
anything.
say something real quick. This is the star of the show. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I really
This is
feel
the
we
star of
feel
the show.
she's the
You
star
know what
of
I
the
mean?
show.
And I told her that I'm not even saying that just to be funny because she's sitting here, but I always love I value the female opinion, and she's very opinionated, and I love that because me and her will go at it. I respect her opinion because I'll probably say something
I
way
don't
left,
respect yours.
and then she'll see what I mean? See what I mean?
No.
And she'll bring it back like nah. That's how it go, and I love that. You know what I mean? So it's
I
the dynamic
appreciate
of
that.
everybody. We're not gonna agree with each other. Hell no.
That's not our job.
Hell no.
Human
Hell
beings
no.
aren't even like that.
We're
so
not gonna agree
why
with
would
each
we
other.
do that?
But I think that's the star right there.
Facts.
Thank you.
That's
I
all.
appreciate it.
That's-
See, now I don't even want to talk anymore.
But
Even
I wanna
without the
ask
hair.
you,
Even without the
Combat,
hair.
why not terrestrial radio? You never thought about
I mean, you
when
know,
you were doing internet radio?
I mean, my goal was to get on terrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like not 6 years ago, 7 years ago,
Yeah.
I wanted to get on terrestrial radio, but
Did you find your niche, you think?
They fear his.
like now,
They
like
don't
like
want
just have
truth
just you know,
tellers.
like just. I mean, one of the things that motivated me to do this was when I had a shot in 2009 to be on Sirius, and that fell, and it didn't happen. I remember it was just like, for a while I was depressed. I was like, damn, like I thought that shot was real.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Not knowing where I was gonna end up, but I thought that shot was gonna be real.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just being in the bed for like a week, like not even being able to get up because I was like, damn, they just shot me down for some bullshit too. It was like a real situation that didn't end up happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year later, man, I was like, you know what? Like, let me call A King again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I took that the year that when you offered me that a slot, I was like, I'm not ready yet. But after that year, I was like, you know what? Ain't nobody doing this shit, and ain't nobody doing this right now.
Mm-hmm.
So not independently, not the way I could do it, and I just had that vision. I'm gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
once I say, because I said no, because I wasn't
Really?
doing it. I wasn't gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when that shit clicked, I was like, you could do this. And I was like,
Mhm.
we got this. Like we got it, man.
Y'all
That's
dynamic is
amazing.
so ill. Like
For
I don't think y'all
real.
understand it. Like
Mhm.
as a legit fan of the show, like I listen to y'all and I feel connected to y'all. Y'all like
It's
the
a
way y'all
relationship.
vibe is so ill, and like it's something that I look up to.
No,
Like
thank
I
you, man.
appreciate y'all
Yes.
show.
Doesn't
I mean,
seem
but we've been
forced.
Yeah.
in the trenches for a long time. You know, we had a lot of different people on the show, and there's times when A King and I have clashed as much as we've clashed with other people on the show.
Mhm.
Other members of the show. But I mean, I think even now, I think what you're seeing is not the end, like the end of what the Combat Jack show is going to be,
Facts.
because
I
I
believe
see
that.
it
Yeah,
I see
for
it
real. This is only the
evolving.
beginning.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
see it
That's
evolving.
right.
You know, I still have my eye on. Do I bring this person on, and do I try to groom them to be part of the show? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you know, we didn't know we were doing when we started. At least we didn't. We had like damn near 7 people on the show.
Yeah.
Ended up just me and King. But I'm always like, I don't want the show to be locked. I get bored
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
I get
Mhm.
bored
And
very
it's a-
easily, and part of me is kind of bored with where we are right now
Mhm.
But that keeps you working
as
though.
a platform. But it also looks at where we can take it. So
Mhm.
even
Yep.
as we doing the show, I'm looking at how to grow the playing field exponentially, and we're
Like
working on
reach different things.
reach different things, produce differently,
Mhm.
delivery. What are the white boys doing that we're you know what I'm saying?
I
That
feel
y'all
you.
that y'all aren't doing.
Shows that have a lot of resources and are like highly investigative and are like serial in terms of like episodic and just different ideas to really take this game, because I'm not bored, but I'm just like
What's next?
I said this before also. I think where we as black podcasters, where we as urban or hip podcasters are, we're still very much at the end of the day, when you look at it in the scheme of things, it's still very much Chitlin circuit. It's still the Chitlin circuit. So it's like, who's gonna be like, how do we design these shows so that we still have, these shows like the Combat Jack show, which is very much Chitlin circuit, and how do we have these shows that's like on the cover of Entertainment Weekly?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like the other white boys in their shows. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I'm really studying and heavily involved in right now as we continue to, with the movement on this level.
That's dope.
I want to ask you something. Like, how long did it take you to figure out like what it was that you wanted to target? Like, figure that out, because I feel like sometimes when you start something like this, you're sort of like, you don't know whether to go the direction of what other podcasters are doing or whatever. Like, when did you guys figure out that?
Well, we didn't have that many podcasters back then. So to me, my thing was, I say this all the time too. I was studying Howard Stern because I love his
Yeah,
interviews.
I read that you really look
His
up to him.
interviews are just they're like he'll be like, yo, I'm fucking interviewing D's nuts tomorrow, and I'm like, I don't want to hear D's nuts on a Howard Stern show. And then I listened to it, and like after that, I'm like, yo, that was a fucking D's nuts
Interview, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I feel you.
fuck with these nuts now.
Yeah, like you into it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always wanted to have that type of rapport where either it was Jay-Z or fucking Joe Bumblefuck, you're gonna like the episode.
And that's really what it is. It's like no matter whoever you have on the show, even if it's someone you're not familiar with,
Or
you
somebody-
want to listen because Combat and A King or the team is going to give you the best show possible.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
for
like
that.
you're not gonna
That's
be
a fact.
sort of like searching for like, all right, I'm bored now. Because
I
you
mean,
know how sometimes like they have guests and then it's like, okay, I'm not really into this sort of lifestyle or whatever it is that they're talking about, but he makes you interested.
Yeah,
He brings you into their world.
Exactly.
And he keeps you interested.
That's the goal. Everybody got a story to tell, man.
Right.
Yes.
And
Y'all have mastered how to keep your listeners listening.
Have we for real?
I think y'all have. I think
Yeah.
y'all
Nah,
have.
just
To me personally.
I think everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people of other races, but my goal is, really what is black excellence, man? Like what makes this person excellent?
Yeah.
What they do, or notorious, or being excellent as being excellent at being a fuckheaded. Like what's what I'm saying? Like I'm looking for that black excellence moment. It's like when I look at Cardi B and I'm like, yo, I'm so amazed at her fucking career and how her mind and her drive works. And I know the typical Combat Jack show listener, they're too serious for us to have a fucking Cardi B on.
That was a
Really-
dope episode, by the
Me
way.
wanting
Real.
to get her story.
I was surprised.
Yeah,
I
that was
like,
a dope episode.
yes.
Yeah, but I'm you know what I'm saying? Like she's fascinating. Like,
Finally got to know
Yeah.
how
who
the
she is.
fuck can I not want to talk to Cardi B?
Facts.
For real.
Like how is that even you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like if y'all really fuck with me, and particularly my listeners that like how could I not want to fucking talk to Cardi
That's
B?
Like,
right.
you should know this.
Right.
Yo, I've seen so many people when we post a picture in Combat. That's our ritual. We post a picture after we do it.
Yeah.
Oh, like I have Cardi B.
Why not?
Yo,
And
but
then
I
after we drop the episode, same people. I'm like, yo. So did you listen to the episode? Nah, but. So why
Yeah.
you in the comments going
right.
crazy?
Yeah.
And you know,
You admittingly saying you didn't listen to the episode, but
Yeah,
you're
you
giving
didn't
an
even do
opinion
it.
on something you have not heard. And if you know the fabric of the show, why would you think anything less than excellence?
Facts.
Yes.
Cardi
Facts.
B was damn near crying and shit.
And when y'all had
Yeah.
on
She
the
ain't
show,
talking to nobody about the shit that
For real.
Combat is bringing
Exactly.
out of her. She's
when
talking
y'all
shit.
when y'all had on the show, I remember I had a conversation with Biz. I was like, "Yo, Cardi B would be so interesting to interview." So when y'all had her on the show, I remember thinking to myself like, "Yo, that's dope. They got her on the show because I think people see her as a certain person
Of
because of
course.
social
Because
media,
of
but they don't
personality.
know Cardi B
That
the
chick is
person.
smart as
So
hell,
when y'all
too.
had her on the show
Yes.
and you really got
It's
to
just
know,
her
I was like,
delivery to
"See,
get
But this is
thrown
what
off
I'm
from.
saying.
I love
exactly,
it.
They're
exactly,
so good at
I love
dissecting
it.
people that we sort of
I
like
want her to stay
dehumanize.
like that.
right."
Yes.
I want her to stay
You know what was
like that.
amazing though was when Cardi B walked in, she was mad nervous.
For real?
She's shaking.
Aw.
She was like nervous, and I was like, "Damn, I never see like you. You always so cool with your
And she's so
forever
confident, right?
one-liners."
Forever.
And when she was nervous, and I was like, "All right, this is gonna be a good interview." 'Cause
Mhm.
you know, she was like, "Why you gonna talk about?" And I was like, "Yo, we
What
got
y'all
you.
gonna
We got you."
I wanted to ask you, you know, you from the beginnings of hip hop. Are you in love with today's hip hop?
Love it. I love it, man. I love it.
Really?
I got you know.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it all.
Yes.
You appreciate it all.
I mean, you know, I don't. All of it is not for me.
Right.
So I can't
Yes.
say I fully appreciate it all, but do I love it? Like, you know, we're doing a set. It's not a shameless plug though, but if y'all ever come out to the VS
Mm-hmm.
yacht parties,
Oh yeah, I'm there.
Oh,
I
oh,
saw
yeah.
that.
Y'all hosting that
I
one
saw it
coming
on
up
the
Yeah.
September
Instagram.
10th?
yeah, September
Mhm.
10th, and
September.
so
Man, I be knowing
one of
that.
my favorite young up and coming DJs is Miss Milan because
Oh, I love her.
Love Miss Milan. She's
Mhm.
number one. She's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, like she's entertaining. She's Millie rocking while she's DJing, and then, you know, she's got a DJ series, Girl in the Streets or something like that. Girl, look it up.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
but she's got this one mixtape where she's covering this level of like particularly like New York
Mhm.
trap that nobody covers, right? So we're doing like my set is with her at the VS yacht party, and I'm like, we were talking today, and we was like, what's the vibe gonna be? And I was like, yo, we on a yacht, and I'm telling y'all niggas our secret sauce. But anyway, I
No,
was
no,
like,
you
yo,
good.
I'm like, we gonna be on
Chill.
we gonna be on a yacht, so we want to keep it wavy, so like some Max Beach, like you know what I'm saying, like
Mhm.
kind of like.
Yeah.
And trap, like nigga, like right now, trap is that when you get caught up in that zone,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
nigga, like yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love this shit.
Right.
Yep.
Facts.
Your son is a producer, right?
My son is my eldest son, Chuma, Osse,
When we met.
aka I don't know him.
Right,
He's a
right,
producer,
right.
and he's out here, you know, doing
What's
his
such a
thing.
dope name?
I don't know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I was
IDK
thinking about
him.
that's ill.
IDKL.
IDK him.
I know you proud of that though.
I
Like,
am proud of that, man.
Yeah.
You know, but as a parent now, this is where the hypocrisy of being a parent
Uh-oh.
comes, and it's like, I worked in the music industry. I
Mhm.
know the highs and the lows of it. So when he said he wanted to go to college to study to be a producer, I was like, oh, you really trying to come in the music industry? So I didn't discourage him,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't like, yay, you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
just,
'cause
you
you've
know,
been
it's like
there.
I'm around producers like, you know what I'm saying?
And they're
Yo,
fuck
niggas
shit.
are still handing me CDs. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas is still chasing me down and handing out CD. You know what I'm saying? You know niggas like that. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I know, yo, it's just like, do I want a life like that for my son? But you know, I gotta have faith, and he's very passionate about what he does, and he's
Mhm.
out here
yeah.
creating a scene for himself. So it's like I can
Yes.
only support that shit, man.
That's
That's
dope.
I
dope.
want to go
That's
back
ill.
real quick. How did the loudspeaker networks come about?
So Twitter is all
Mm.
Twitter, man. You gotta. That's why I love social media, man. So, you know, when I was going through when Combat Jack show started, this one cat, Chris Morrow, reached out, was like, I like what you're doing, working radio. I was like, yo, just come by. So he came by. I think it was our MOP episode or some shit like that. He came and left because he's like, yo, y'all niggas are not professional. It's like 20 niggas in the studio. It was like, y'all not professional. He was like, I'm out. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, he was a listener of the show. So I remember when we started going through some issues with the studio at PNC, I was just like, yo, there was a chance that the Combat Jack show was not going to be around because we would have to take a hiatus for like 6 months.
Mm.
And this is internet. This is the internet. And that summer we would have failed
Mhm.
because that summer was when we got Just Blaze on. That, you know what I'm saying?
Peaking.
Huh? Like we saw
was on the-
RZA,
hitting home runs.
like
man.
you know what I'm saying. It was like Fox, Dame. That it was that
Yeah.
summer that we would have been in action because they was doing some construction over at PNC. So I was like on Twitter, like, "Yo, Combat Jackson needs a studio." Like now. Now, there's some urgency in that shit, and Morrow was like, "Yo, I work in the studio. I fuck with y'all. You know, come over here and start recording." So we started recording at Radio City, my nigga, like in Rush Limbaugh's, and what's the other Ryan Seacrest's
Seacrest, yeah.
studio.
Wow.
Oh
Because he had
shit.
access to that. So we was like, "Yo, niggas is in." We were across the street from Sirius. I could see Sirius.
Yep.
We got the exclusive studio, and I was like, "Yo, this is a whole."
Oh, Sixth
Imagine
Avenue.
the
Really a
feeling.
spaceship, man.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Sixth Avenue America.
Because I remember
Yeah.
just coming out the subway and seeing Radio City.
For
out
real,
there.
the
Yeah, it's a
lights
big
and shit,
deal.
right?
We went from, and it's no diss to PNC, but we went from
No, it's,
from across the river to like, nigga, we here.
Yep.
So but Chris
Upgrade.
was student of radio. He produces actually the syndicated arm of the Breakfast Club.
Mm.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's
Wow.
so he works in radio, but his he's always been into podcasts, and he saw podcasts as the future. So like after rocking with us for like a year, he's like, "Yo, let's expand. So we did Sneaker Fiends with Dallas and Premium Pete. We did reality
Reality check.
check with NY Delight and Jazz Fly, who's now over in Hollywood writing scripts and everything. She's
The
writing
breaks.
the breaks and everything, man.
Mhm.
So,
Shout out to Jazz.
Fan Bros with Ben Hameen and Tatiana and Chico Leo. I remember that was a headache trying to put that together. So we're coming up with all these ideas, but then Jazz Fly had recommended to Chris Kid Fury, and so initially Kid Fury came in. He said he wanted to do it with Crystals. We didn't know who Crystals was, but he had such a huge
Huge foul.
YouTube
Yeah.
following. So their shit, man. Like when
Reed was out
the
of here.
first episode,
Facts.
man. Like the cast was telling me, like, "Yo, what happens if the Reed overshadows your shit?" I'm like, "I'm good with like," and
Yeah.
then them niggas overshadowed my shit by miles, and I was like, but it was just
Same team.
It was all
so
good.
so that's the really, and then coming up with a name, my thing was like when I started listening to podcasts, was these real, calm, white sounding voices that spoke very proper.
No, seriously.
And
Yes.
when I was at home and really and
Like
just
they were reading the book, like when you order the audio books.
yeah, it's the NPR. They call it the NPR voice, and our thing was we're going to be the anti
NPR voice.
NPR voice. So if
That
they're so
structure.
quiet, sounding like librarians, we're loudspeakers. So we loudspeakers.
Yep.
Gangster.
That's
So we
ill.
here.
Yeah.
I want to play a game before you go. I'm gonna it's called
Alright.
a name game. It's
Okay.
like I'm gonna say some names to you. Just tell me what, Frankie Crocker.
Dream those dreams.
Angie Martinez.
Butter pecan recan. Every like, is it one word or just? Do I have to say
Whatever
one
comes
word?
to mind.
Yeah,
Whatever
like whatever
comes
you
to mind.
associate with them.
Every b-boy's dream girlfriend.
Troy Terrain.
Master.
Nigga. My nigga on the trigger.
Master.
Main nigga on the trigger.
Main nigga.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pull a page from your book now. Your top 5 MCs all time.
I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear this.
I want to hear.
I wanted to hear this.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah, I wanted to hear this.
But I'm a weirdo, so. Kane, Jay-Z, Biggie, typical.
Brooklyn. All Brooklyn.
KRS,
Nice.
MF Doom.
Wow.
Lit.
Doom.
For
MF
real.
Doom. I didn't
Yo, he
expect
just
that
hit
one.
y'all right now. I
Yeah,
want y'all
people
to do
like-
y'all homework on
There's
that
a couple
one.
people like MF Doom. Like
MF
I
Doom.
didn't
He's
expect
kind of
that.
a thing.
Woo.
MF Doom, his pen game is crazy. And to me, I look at MCs that'll change your life, or MCs
That
like
makes sense.
how like Biggie came at a time like when I was in that machine, it changed our lives. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
niggas got married to Big Papa. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was Jigga. Like I went from because of my relationship with Damon Dash, which soured, and just not liking Damon Dash. Like I wanted Rockefeller and Jay-Z to fail. Like just like
Yeah.
yo, fuck y'all niggas. Like it's so
Yeah.
disrespectful. You know what I mean? But then every year I was that hater because every year that nigga was getting
just
nicer
winning.
and nicer,
Yeah.
and I was just like,
He's in the top
So I
five.
remember one time, one of my peoples that asked me, they was like, "Yo, who's your favorite rapper right now?"
Jay.
And they knew my history with Rockefeller, and I was like Jay-Z, and they were like, "For real?" It's like, "Yeah, I
Even
got
though he laughed at you.
yeah, I mean, silver. Fuck you, Jay-Z. Kane. Kane was like nobody else, man. He was like he was our age, but he was a grown ass man.
Mm-hmm.
From his voice, he had like that OJ's. You know what I'm saying? Presence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's an older soul that came in and flipped in the game. Like I said, KRS-One changed it. But for me, why Doom is so important to me is like, I had worked in the industry for 15 years. I was burnt out, man. Like, I was burnt out. So when y'all niggas was like cranking up Dipset, when I heard one of them niggas said some shit like, I got on this... This is what got me mad about Dipset.
I want to hear this.
I'm trying to think a specific rhyme. Like, I had a slice of pizza, and I had some more pizza, and then I ate the pizza. She wanted some pizza. I was like, this,
Yo,
did this
I'm glad
nigga?
I'm not the only
I
one.
was like, did this
No,
nigga?
that's like I got a whole selection.
Did this nigga just
With
say
a
the
whole
same
selection.
word
Four times?
and
Yes.
trying to
I'm
like?
glad I'm not alone in that because I used to say that when they first came out. Like, they're just repeating shit. I don't get it.
Well,
And I've grown to appreciate Dipset. I've grown to, but at the time I was like, that was the last straw for me. I was like,
Annoyed.
I didn't like this music,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't like the industry. So when I got out the game and I started discovering the internet, that's when I discovered shit that we weren't bumping in the industry. That's when I discovered Ninth Wonder and
Whole nother world.
Little Brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Little-
when
shout out to Little
but
Brother.
then when I discovered Doom, that nigga made me love hip hop again. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that nigga was so left field with the comic book. It was full
Yes.
circle with the
He
mask
ever showed his
on.
face?
Never. I don't think he shows his face.
Never.
I mean, you know his face.
There was
Yeah.
there's videos and
But it's rare.
old pictures. Of
Yeah.
him.
But him like
Parties without
spitting
the mask.
like that, I was like, yo, niggas. There was just this recent study on I think it's Vivo. No, not Vivo. One of these companies, and they did a study on numerics of like just the vibrations and numerics of vocalists, and I think it was Rakim, who you could tell his rhyme patterns changed the game, or Biggie. They said in Unbelievable the way he rhymes differently. Like each, like I'm not even knowing that there's a scientific way to analyze like Eminem, of course, was in there, and Andre 3000, but the cat who's the way his rhyme patterns is off the scale, like Salvador Dali, like there's no playing for is Doom. Like his rhymes is just crazy, crazy.
dope.
And it that era from like 2004 to 2008, where it was a Mad Villain with him and Mad Lib,
Yeah.
or King Ghidorah, which was his collaborative album, or Operation Doomsday, which was his first album, or Food, like just Doom, nigga, Doom. Top five.
That's
Top
ill.
five.
I was just about to say that. Top five.
But we gotta ask A King the same question. A King, what's your top five?
What? My top five, man. No particular order.
Mhm.
Groups included.
Mm-hmm.
Tribe Called Quest,
Mm-hmm.
Nas, B.I.G., Redman,
Ooh.
He's so underrated.
Snoop.
I like that five.
When I
that
say
five.
Snoop, that's Snoop, Dre,
Right.
that whole,
That
you know
whole
what I
era.
mean, all in one.
Dope.
Redman. I like that you threw Redman in there.
Yeah.
I didn't expect
Yeah.
that.
I remember there was a line, I think, on Redman's second album, first or second song, I can't remember, but he said something about, you know, he not messing with nobody if it ain't Buckshot, him or Nas. And I was like, damn, I thought that was pretty dope for him to acknowledge Buckshot
Or
in his top at that time. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
ill.
You know what I mean? So
Yo, when that nigga said, like I got cerebral palsy,
yeah.
that shit still gets me laughing.
Shout out to Reggie, man. Reggie knows.
Yo,
That's
Reggie,
ill.
thank you so much.
Nah, thank y'all, man.
nah, for real, man.
No,
like,
thank
don't-
you.
This
like,
is a dope anniversary gift.
This is gonna stick with us forever, man. Like, no matter
Yeah.
where we get, we gonna be like,
Nah,
we
appreciate
had
it.
Reggie on our anniversary episode.
Appreciate
Like he
that, man.
came to
Like,
us,
real
to talk
shit.
to us and
Yo,
tell us about his
Thank
life.
you so much, man. I
Well,
appreciate
let's
it.
do
man.
it, man.
So thankful.
Yo, it's the About Nothing podcast. Happy anniversary to us once again.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you,
You know what I
to
mean?
all
I should've
of our
bought a cake.
supporters.
Yes.
It's the anniversary
We-
episode.
we-
We can't close out without Kelsey giving us some
No, of
words.
course no. We ain't
Hold on.
finished.
Oh, okay, I'm just
You
making
know I gotta shout out South Africa.
Absolutely.
South Africa.
South
Some of our
Africa,
top
thank
listeners.
you so much.
Yes.
Korea, thank you. Turkey, thank you. Australia,
Texas.
Canada, Houston, especially.
Yes.
Yo, we get love in Houston. I don't know who, but yo, shout out.
Thank
Good
you.
shit.
We
You know
love
what I'm
you so
saying?
much for
And
listening.
we need some anniversary words from Kelsey.
Absolutely.
Listening to us. Yeah, okay. Because I'm nervous because you're here right now. I'm
You
not
want-
even
you
gonna
want me
lie.
to-
I
After,
feel like
I thought we got comfortable with each other. You guys all
we
intimate.
did, but now
We
it's
took
like
our
it's
clothes
all
off on
me.
here.
You told us about your immigrant clothes. You're right.
Yo, you. I think I haven't seen him too many times in his element,
Mm-hmm.
but if I do remember, you had a little dance off.
I remember that.
And
got
I
it?
won the
dance off,
battle.
right?
They had a nice
I won the
little-
battle.
I was like, what's
Yep.
going on here?
That's a
Yep.
fact.
It was to house music, and I beat him.
Yes, you did. She did. No,
Nah, I didn't win though. Like for real.
Unanimously.
Yo, what's going on?
Unanimously.
Yeah.
Just oh my God, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank
Like
you.
I'm so thankful and like humbled by this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honestly, like this means everything to me. But I just want to say, Combat was talking about speaking your dreams up, and like it's real. Like it really, your dreams really can come true. Like make sure that when you want to accomplish something in your life, that you speak it up, that you say it out loud, that
Write
you
it
put
down.
that energy. Yes, make it real. Like write down the words on a real piece of paper. Let it manifest, and don't lose track, even when there's like distractions and things that